Chapter 34-23. Something had happened. Realizing this, Auntie Han began to call Han Yen-er frantically. She would keep calling until Han Yen-er's phone was turned on. Otherwise, she would not give up. The people who had left Auntie Han's house also rushed back. When Song Zilong heard that Han Yen-er was not there, he immediately asked them to find the driver who had left and ask him where Han Yen-er had gone. After all, he had driven Zhuo Meiyan and Han Yen-er out. Zhuo Meiyan had returned, but Han Yen-er had not. Song Zilong did not believe that the driver did not know anything. He was sure that there was something fishy going on. The few burly guys followed the address provided by Chairman Song's secretary and went straight to the slum, which was only one step away from the bustling area. Although the address was very detailed, the slum was a mess. It took them a lot of effort to find the driver's house. The driver had only been home for a few minutes. After he had sent Chairman Song and Song Zilong to the hospital, he considered it as a way of repaying Chairman Song's kindness for giving him a job. After he left, he had no intention of going back. He used his savings to buy some things for his mother and then rushed home. When the thugs came to visit, he was preparing water to wash his mother's feet. He wanted to be filial. Before he could afford to buy a house and take his mother out of this place, he wanted to use his actions to make up for his neglect of his mother and what he owed her. But just as he prepared the water, Song Zilong's men broke in. "Your house is really hard to find." The leader of the brawny men saw the driver and scolded, "I didn't expect you to be so carefree here. Serving this old thing?" When the driver heard how dirty the words of these people were, he immediately became anxious. "Who are you people? Get out of my house." As he spoke, he picked up the empty kettle and pretended to smash it. Unfortunately, these people were all experienced bastards. They saw through his pretense at a glance. He did not dare to do anything when there was an old man beside him. "Come on, smash it. Why don't you King smash it?" The man pointed to his head and said. He was sure that the driver did not dare to do anything. The others also bared their teeth and glared at the driver and his mother. They looked like they wanted to eat them. "How dare you hit my big brother? Do you believe that we won't burn down your house? Anyway, this run-down house can't withstand a fire." These people were extremely arrogant. The driver gritted his teeth and looked at them, but he really didn't dare to make a move. He knew that if he really did, he would definitely be beaten up badly. "What are you trying to do?" The driver carefully stood in front of his mother. "If there's anything, come at me. Don't disturb my mother. Let's go out and settle it." "Okay, I'll give your old thing some face." After saying that, they turned around and walked out. "If you dare to run, I'll beat your old thing to death." As a mother, she was naturally worried about her son. She grabbed him and stopped him from leaving. However, the driver told her seriously, "There are some things that I have to face." "Mom, don't worry. I will definitely be fine." His mother nodded. As soon as the driver walked out, the man aimed a punch at his stomach. This punch was so heavy that the driver almost vomited out the acid in his stomach. "This is to let you know the consequences of threatening me," the man said. "You want to hit me? Even if you had 10 times the courage, you wouldn't dare." I know." The driver struggled to stand up. "If you want to talk to me about something, just say it. Where did you send that little tch Han Yen? The address you gave wasn't even her house. It was her aunt's house. Forget it. It doesn't matter what kind of mother it wasn't her real mother's house." The driver said, "Han Yen lost her parents a long time ago. That was her aunt's house." "Then where is she now?" The men surrounded him fiercely. "I don't know. I just sent her there." "It has nothing to do with me if you can't find her, right?" The driver explained. "Her legs are on her." "How would I know where she is going?" Little starred, "Since you don't want to be honest, let us teach you what it means to be honest." The leader yelled angrily. He waved his hand and said, "Go." The few of them aimed at the driver and kicked him violently. After 3 minutes of beating, The driver was covered in dirt and was lying on the ground with his face bruised and battered. Littleby asterisk starred, I'll ask you one last time. Are you going to talk or not? Although he was being beaten, he still respected Su Yun and Zhua Meiyan. He gritted his teeth and said, I don't know anything. I don't understand what you want me to say. Brothers. Beat him again. I don't believe he's that stubborn. If he doesn't talk, keep beating him until he does. Beat him. Once again, the group of people threw punches and kicks at each other, causing the driver to roll on the ground. Even the driver's mother couldn't sit still when she heard the commotion outside. She quickened her steps and walked out. Seeing her son rolling on the ground, the mother, who felt sorry for her son, didn't care whether she was injured or not. She immediately laid down and covered her son with her body. If you want to beat him, beat me. Don't beat him. As a mother, she couldn't stand seeing her son being bullied. Okay. Then we'll beat you. Let's see how long your old arms and legs can last. These bastards didn't know how to respect the old. Littleby asterisk starred. Look carefully. If you don't talk, we'll beat your mother. How many punches do you think your mother can take? The leader spat on the ground. If we beat her to death, don't regret it. I'll talk. The driver couldn't take it anymore. These bastards were too inhumane. It was okay if they only beat him, but they also wanted to beat his mother. Were they still human? But he knew in his heart that these people didn't care about relationships, so they would do what they said. For his mother's safety, he could only apologize to Su Yun and Zhua Meiyan in his heart. I took Han Yen Air to the airport, and she already left on a plane. Mr. Zhua from Huaxia arranged for her to go to Huaxia. She won't be coming back anymore. After saying these words, he felt much more comfortable in his heart. The thugs were stunned. She went to Huaxia? This little slut ran a little too fast. If you dare to lie to us, I'll make sure you don't even know how you died. After the threat, the thugs quickly left and returned to the car. The mother looked at her son with pity, but she couldn't say a word. Mom, we have to leave now. We can't stay here any longer. The driver said, but please believe me. We'll go to a smaller city. I'll find a way for you to live a better life. The mother nodded. She always believed in her son unconditionally. Even if her son disappointed her, she still chose to believe him and never doubted him. Han Yen was worried about Su Yun on the plane. She was still worried when she got off the plane. She didn't even think about turning on her phone. Plus, she didn't even have Su Yun and Zhua Meiyan's numbers. When she walked out of the exit, Han Yen was even more worried. But just as she was at a loss, a figure stood in front of her. Are you Han Yen? Lin Gu looked at Han Yen who was wearing a mask, and didn't dare to recognize her. But judging from her flustered behavior, it should be her. Han Yen was stunned. She didn't expect to be recognized with a mask. She quickly denied it. No. When Lin Gu heard her Korean accent, he knew he had found the right person. I'm here to pick you up. Lin Gu said, Mr. Su is my brother. I know what happened over there. Misters were called me to pick you up. Don't worry. You'll be safe in Huaxia. Han Yen felt relieved and asked, Are you from Sky Entertainment? Yes, Lin Gu said, I'm the Deputy General Manager of Sky Entertainment. I'm mainly in charge of logistics. Nice to meet you, Mr. Lin. Han Yen was shocked. He was a Deputy General Manager at such a young age. But she wasn't too surprised. After all, Mr. Su and Mr. Zhua were both young people. It only meant that they were young and promising. Lin Gu chuckled. This Chief Lin sounded pretty good. He suddenly had the intention of becoming a leader. What Boss Lin? He's just an errand boy for Brother Su Yun. He does some small things. Don't call him that. He'll be arrogant. Fengya appeared behind Lin Gu. She had come to look for Lin Gu as soon as she got off work. Lin Gu had already called her and told her that he was waiting to pick someone up. Chapter 34-24. Seeing that both of them understood the situation, Han Yen immediately bowed deeply and took off her mask. I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. I hope you don't mind. I didn't trust you. I'm sorry. After that, Han Yen bowed again and again, which made Lin Gu and Fang Ye a little embarrassed. Sister Mei Yen arranged for us to pick you up. We will definitely treat you well. Fang Ye smiled. But this is the airport. You'd better put on a mask. After all, many young people in Huaxia are very sensitive to Korean stars. If you are recognized, you will be surrounded. Han Yen nodded and said sorry a few times. Then she put on her mask. Although Lin Gu thought that all Korean stars looked the same, he didn't say it out loud. He had to care about other people's feelings. Let's go. We'll take you away from here and treat you to something special, Lin Gu said. Then we'll go back to the Sky Entertainment Hotel and arrange a place for you to stay. Thank you so much. I really don't know what to say. Han Yen was embarrassed. It's already very troublesome for you to pick me up. I can't let you treat me to a meal. I should treat you. Lin Gu laughed. You're treating us? But you don't know the specialties here. Besides, even if you have money, it's in Korean won. There's no place to exchange it at night. I have online banking. Han Yen hurriedly said, I can go online and exchange it for RMB. Forget it. We haven't eaten yet and we're hungry. We're just waiting for you to come and eat together. Lin Gu said, if you feel embarrassed, you can exchange the money tomorrow and treat us to a big meal, okay? Okay. Then it's a deal. I must thank you tomorrow. Han Yen bowed again. Lin Gu smiled bitterly. This Korean girl was really serious. Lin Gu and Fang Ye drove Han Yen to the famous pig trotter restaurant in the Qingdao airport area and had a big meal. The traditional Chinese dish shocked Han Yen. It was 1,000 times better than kimchi. She had never eaten anything without all kinds of sauces in her life, but this was the first time she had eaten meat that didn't need any sauces and was still so fresh and not greasy. Han Yen was really hungry, and she ate very carefully. The bones were all gone. To be honest, when Han Yen first saw the pig trotters, she didn't want to eat them. After all, the thought of the pig trotters in the mud made her feel disgusted. But in order to give face to Lin Gu and Fang Ye, she couldn't let others see that she wasn't used to it. Even if it was very forced, she forced herself to eat it. Once she started eating, she couldn't stop. Lin Gu also liked to eat the pig trotters here. As a local, Fang Ye naturally had a special liking for the pig trotters here. Therefore, the 6 pig trotters were gone in the blink of an eye. After all, this thing had more bones than meat, so it was easy for each of them to eat 2 trotters. Seeing that Han Yen liked it, Lin Gu immediately ordered 6 more. Han Yen was a little embarrassed. In her memory, she had never been so greedy. When she was young, she lived under someone else's roof. Even if there was good food at home, she didn't dare to eat too much. Later, when she became a trainee, the company was stricter. She couldn't be greedy at all, and her weight was strictly controlled. Therefore, since the day Han Yen could remember, she had never been able to let herself go and eat until she was full. She really hadn't. Never. Han Yen didn't know what it felt like to be full. Would it be satisfying? Or would it be something else? Today, no one was controlling her. She could finally taste the feeling of being full, and it was such a delicious meal. Thinking of this, Han Yen actually cried while eating. This stunned Lin Gu. How could she cry while eating? What was going on? Is it that good? Lin Gu joked. Even a pig trotter can make you cry? Han Yen nodded embarrassedly. It's really delicious. Fang Ye seemed to understand her. You must have never had a chance to eat like this before. Yes, I've never had a chance to eat like this before. Han Yen said, and I really didn't expect to eat such delicious food on my first day in Huaxia. It's really touching. Haha, did you know that the pig trotter you ate was made into the Intangible Cultural Heritage List? As a local, Fangya was naturally proud of it. When the trotter opens the pot, the whole world will drool. This is the best trotter in the world. Oh, look at how proud you are. This is the only good food on Qingdao. Lin Gu laughed and attacked Fangya. Fangya was not convinced. Although she was not from Qingdao, since she came to Qingdao with Lin Gu and worked at the airport here, she completely regarded herself as a local. She didn't allow anyone to talk about her city. There are so many good food on Qingdao. Fangya said, "Do you like the red island clams that I made the most?" "That's because you made it. I like to eat whatever you make." Lin Gu showed off his affection without any hesitation. Han Yen suddenly felt that Fangya was very happy, but she felt that she didn't deserve to be loved by such a good man. "Okay, then I won't make it. Do you especially like to eat the pot stickers at Songko?" Fangya continued, "Crispy on the outside, tender on the inside, delicious on the inside." "You said it. No matter if it's the 3 treasures pot stickers with shark's fin, sea cucumber, and abalone, or the cheap 3 delicacies pot stickers, you like them all. There are 50 different flavors of pot stickers. Which one have you not eaten before?" Lin Gu chuckled. Even he felt a little embarrassed. Indeed, he loved eating the fried dumplings at Songko the most. Moreover, every time he went there to eat fried dumplings, he would go there with Fangya. Therefore, he had many fond memories there. And the braised seafood noodles at Tiantang Bay, the Spanish mackerel dumplings at Sanhiyuan, and the seaweed starch jelly at Lacey. Which one of them is not your favorite? Fangya exposed him one by one. Although they were all snacks, Fangya remembered them all. This was also a kind of sweetness. Han Yen was really envious of their love. Fangya remembered everything that Lin Gu liked to eat. Even if it was a simple starch jelly, a simple dumpling, or a simple braised noodles, she could still remember what he liked to eat. Although this kind of love was so ordinary, it was the most real. She remembers everything that you like to eat. Do you remember what she likes to eat? Han Yen asked Lin Gu enviously. Lin Gu laughed and said, "Of course. I think the clams she makes are the best, but she thinks the clams at Beer Street are the best. She also likes the octopus balls and sushi at Tai Tung Pedestrian Street. She likes the tofu pudding and steamed starfish at Chopsticks Courtyard. She likes the grilled squid at Metal, Lu Shi's dumpling soup, and the fishing village on the island." Han Yen was fascinated. This kind of man was the most handsome to her. In fact, she is a foodie. The good thing is that I make enough money to take her to eat anything she wants. Lin Gu said with satisfaction. He also felt that this was enough. Their love was so simple, which made Han Yen feel a bit surprised. As far as she knew, the love between people nowadays was completely based on material things. At least in a city like Qingdao, and with Fangya's good conditions, there must be a lot of rich second-generation heirs who would be fascinated by her, right? If they wanted to pursue her, they would at least have to have a house with a sea view and a car like a Maserati. But what Fangya wanted was so simple. She felt that she was happy to accompany Lin Gu to Tsongko and have a happy meal of Sanxian pot dumplings. Not to mention Qingdao, when she was in Shanghai, there were many rich people who lived in Tangchen who wanted to pursue her. There were all kinds of first-generation, second-generation, and third-generation heirs, but she didn't feel like she couldn't get any. Although some people could give her a house that cost tens of millions and a luxury car that cost millions, material things weren't love. At least, Fangya thought that material things without love were sad. Unfortunately, in today's society, the vast majority of people had completely different thoughts from her. Most people would think that love without material things was the saddest thing. At least everyone fantasized about a life with both material things and love. Unfortunately, there weren't so many fairy tales in reality. Most of the time, love and material things were lacking. Maybe this was a kind of reality. Between love and material things, Fangya chose love without hesitation. So she was very happy, very happy. This kind of happiness might last a lifetime. However, things like material things might only bring people temporary enjoyment. At any class reunion, the most common thing female classmates said to each other was, "Your husband is so rich." Very few people would say, "Your husband loves you so much." Chapter 34-25. There are fewer and fewer people in this world who have the kind of love you have. Han Yen knew that she was the type of girl who lived for material things. If it weren't for that, she wouldn't have been controlled by the Song brothers. Actually, love isn't that complicated. It's just that people make it complicated, Fangya said. Although I don't agree with those materialistic girls, I understand them. After all, I don't have that kind of experience. Although I can guarantee that no matter how poor Do is, I will still fall in love with him because of his character, but in a way, he isn't poor. At least, from my understanding of wealth, he isn't poor. So, I don't have much strength when I say those words. Many people think that I'm just standing there and talking. Han Yen smiled. Indeed, how could someone who could be the deputy general manager of Sky Entertainment be poor? So, Fangya was the kind of girl that all girls would envy. At the same time, she had a good love and a good life. Hua Xia people have always paid attention to matching families. There is a saying that goes, "Poor couples have 100 sorrows." Fangya sighed and said, "In the end, we shouldn't blame girls for being realistic. We should blame society for being too realistic. If you don't have anything, you will be looked down upon." There is a saying that a man without money is the same as a woman who isn't beautiful. Although most people don't hate it, they won't accept it. Lin Gu said, "Don't blame anyone." Since ancient times, there has been a saying that a man with money and a woman with good looks. If you don't have money, you can't have good looks. Although there was a lucky Song Wu De, in the end, he was still cheated on by Jean Lien. "Why are you talking about something so far-fetched?" Fangya stared at Lin Gu and said, "We were talking about perfect love. What, do you want to be cheated on?" "Only an idiot would want to be cheated on." Lin Gu was anxious. Seeing his anxious look, Fangya couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Everyone around me knows that I have a husband who can fight. Who dares to wear a green hat for you? Isn't that courting death?" "As long as they know." Lin Gu stared and said, "Don't say they don't dare. They can't even think about it. I will fight whoever thinks about it." "That's not something you can control." Han Yen smiled and said, "Miss Fang is so elegant and beautiful. It's hard for guys not to like her. If I were a guy, I would definitely like her. Even if I knew she had a boyfriend, it wouldn't stop me from liking her." Lin Gu froze. Han Yen was telling the truth, and he had no right to stop her. "Guard her well." Han Yen said, "She is not like me. As long as you love her enough, you will be able to keep her." Lin Gu and Fangya were both stunned. "Girls like you?" "That's right, my kind belongs to the material type." Han Yen didn't try to hide it. She said in a self-deprecating tone, "If I wasn't a materialistic girl, maybe I would have already been with a boy I loved." Lin Gu and the others knew that Han Yen must have her own difficulties. When a girl said this, it meant she was really heartbroken. "But I wanted to live in an apartment in Jiangnan district. I wanted to drive a sports car. I wanted to live a luxurious life. So I gave up my love and was used like a tool. I just wanted to make money and satisfy my material needs." Han Yen lowered her head and said, "In order to satisfy my material needs, I did things that made me unhappy every day for money. I did things that people looked down on and despised. I thought material things could make me forget everything, but today I realized that I couldn't. A stain stays with a person for life, but the happiness brought by material things is fleeting. If you did something wrong, you should change. There is no stain that can't be erased." Fangya didn't think so. A prodigal son turning over a new leaf is more precious than gold. Han Yen looked up at Fangya and said, "This saying is popular in Korea. But the second part of the saying is a prostitute turning over a new leaf is still a prostitute." Fangya was shocked. No. Hua Xia doesn't have that second part. You must have been added by some senseless person. Someone must have made it up. In Hua Xia, It is better to marry a prostitute and turn over a new leaf than to have an affair. Lin Gu said, "Don't feel so burdened. Besides, calling yourself a prostitute is so unpleasant. Don't talk about yourself like that." Han Yen shook her head with a wry smile. She really felt that she was no different from a prostitute. "Okay, let's not talk about this," Fong Ye said. "By the way, when you came back, did Sister Mei Yen say when they would be back? Would they come back as soon as they finished their business, or would they come back after a few days?" Han Yen didn't have time to think about her problem. She couldn't help but worry about Su Yun and the others. "I'm afraid this is not so easy to deal with. I'm worried about them." "Don't worry. If you know my brother, you won't be worried." Lin Gu said, "This is not a big deal. If it wasn't for his identity, he would have already killed your president in front of you." Han Yen was still frowning. "I can see that he does have concerns." "It's okay now. Someone is helping him deal with this. It's fine." Lin Gu said, "Maybe they have already dealt with it. Maybe they have already dealt with it and gone to have fun." Han Yen looked at Lin Gu in shock. She didn't believe that things could be solved so easily. "Manager Su and Manager Zhua are a couple?" Han Yen was surprised. "What do you think?" Lin Gu laughed. "It's not easy to say." Han Yen looked surprised and said, "No way. No wonder they have such good chemistry. Are they really a couple?" "There are too many couples with Su Yun. Haha, we don't dare to say it." Fong Ye said, "Why? Do you think they are a good match?" Han Yen nodded and said sincerely, "They are a good match. And I think Manager Su is such an excellent person. He must have an excellent woman like Manager Zhua to be a good match." "But Manager Su has more than one excellent woman around him," Lin Gu said. "So, don't talk nonsense." Han Yen certainly understood that excellent men would never lack women around them. And they were definitely not the kind of vases who were just there to make up the numbers. They were all excellent women. Those vases would only appear around rich people. Even if they weren't excellent, as long as they were rich, they would still have an endless supply of them. But excellent women wouldn't pay attention to such people. Excellent women would only appear around excellent men. "Judging from your tone, you are so jealous of Brother Su Yun," Fong Ye said with a smile. Lin Gu nodded and sighed deliberately. "Yes, I am so jealous. Why didn't I have such good luck with women?" "You don't want to give up? Then I can introduce you to a few." Fong Ye smiled mysteriously. "There are many beautiful women in our airport." No. I am afraid I won't be able to enjoy them." Lin Gu realized that there was a murderous look in her smile, so he quickly changed his words. "I don't want that kind of trouble. You are enough for me. If I were to end up like Brother Yun, I would have nothing left to live for." Fong Ye pursed her lips and said, "That sounds nice. I'll forgive your evil intentions. Anyway, you don't have the guts. Even Big Brother Yun doesn't know how to deal with it, let alone you. It's even more impossible for you to deal with such a situation, so I believe that you will be obedient." Han Yen smiled, but her heart trembled. Su Yun was a man who could make women do anything for him. Han Yen felt that if she could be good enough for Su Yun, she wouldn't mind if he had other women around him. She would definitely be able to accept it. But she knew very well that she wasn't good enough for Su Yun. Even an excellent woman like Zhua Meiyan couldn't have Su Yun by his side, let alone her. Han Yen shook her head and tried to stay awake. She didn't want to have any more fantasies. Su Yun had helped her so much. She shouldn't have any other thoughts. Suddenly, Han Yen felt a chill on her back. Her heart suddenly jumped. She realized that something was wrong with her. She quickly stood up and apologized to the two. "I need to go to the bathroom." After that, Han Yen quickly turned and left. Chapter 34-26. After Han Yen had been gone for about 20 minutes, Fong Ye was worried. Why hasn't she come back yet? Go and have a look. Although this place is quite big, she shouldn't have gotten lost. Go and look for her, Lin Gu said. I'll pay the bill first. I think she's full. We'll go back once we find her. Fangya nodded and went to the bathroom to look for Han Yen. At this time, Han Yen was shivering in the bathroom. She kept washing her face with cold water, hoping to wake herself up. However, nothing seemed to work. She was about to collapse. But she knew she had to hold it in. She had to hold it in. When Han Yen put her head under the tap again to wash herself with the cold water, Fangya walked in. Fangya was shocked and quickly pushed Han Yen away and turned off the tap. What are you doing? Fangya stared at her. You don't care about your body at all. Then, Fangya went to grab Han Yen only to find that she was cold. Han Yen tried to dodge and said to Fangya in a trembling voice, I beg you, please let me be alone for a while. Just for a while. I just want to be alone for a while. Your body is cold now. If you go on like this, your body won't be able to take it. It's not summer anymore. It's late autumn. If you go on like this, you'll catch a cold easily. Fangya said, since you've come to Huaxia, everything in the past is in the past. There's no need to worry about it. Do you understand? Han Yen shook her head hard. She couldn't concentrate at all. After Lin Gu paid the bill, he packed a few pig trotters by Xiaoye to take home for supper. He had heard that eating pig trotters could improve one's beauty. Although it was probably a lie made up by the pig trotters, he still believed it. Lin Gu waited for a few more minutes at the entrance of the restaurant. Fangya went to the bathroom and didn't come back. He was a little confused and went straight to the bathroom. Just as he walked to the bathroom door, he heard Fangya's voice coming from inside. What's wrong with you? If there's anything that makes you feel uncomfortable, you can talk to us. What's the point of you coming here to humiliate yourself? Fangya's voice was obviously angry. Fangya, what's wrong? Did something happen? Lin Gu asked cautiously at the bathroom door. Hearing Lin Ji's voice, Fangya didn't want to waste any more time with Han Yen. Come in. Help me get her out of here. She's ready to take a cold shower here. But this is the ladies' room. Lin Gu awkwardly raised his head and looked at the picture of a little girl in a pink dress on the door sign. He shook his head. Why are you being so particular at a time like this? Fangya said, there's no one inside. Hurry up and come in. Let's get her out first. I can't move her. Fangya stamped her feet anxiously. Lin Gu had no choice but to grit his teeth and rush in. He picked up Han Yen, put her on his shoulder, and rushed out. Fangya followed closely behind him, looking at Han Yen nervously. Once they were out of the hotel, Fangya took off her jacket and put it on Han Yen. Han Yen's body was almost soaked, and she was worried that she would catch a cold. Lin Gu opened the car door and let her in. He looked helpless and said, What's wrong with her? Wasn't she fine a moment ago? Even if she's not acclimatized, she shouldn't have such a big reaction. Isn't that too much of a scam? Although Lin Gu said that, he was still worried about her. Fangya got into the back seat and took care of Han Yen. Lin Gu was about to drive away, but he was still muttering, Oh my God, don't do anything. This is not a joke. When my brother comes back, I have to give him an explanation. Hurry up and drive away. Maybe she's just not feeling well. Fangya said. Lin Gu immediately drove to the Sky Entertainment Hotel. The bumpy road made Han Yen come back to her senses. When she woke up, she found herself in the car. She looked very embarrassed. I'm sorry. I must have lost my composure. Han Yen was very embarrassed. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I didn't expect things to turn out like this. It's my fault. I'm sorry. Okay, it's okay. Fangya shook her head generously. But you were too scary just now. What happened? Han Yen felt like there was a fishbone stuck in her throat. She was silent for a moment, then slowly said, I don't know. Maybe it's because I've encountered too much of a change. My life is completely different from my previous life. Everything I had before is gone. So I'm a little upset. Lin Gu let out a long sigh. You're so uncomfortable. You almost scared me to death just now. I thought you had some kind of epilepsy. You scared me to death. Don't talk nonsense. Fangya rolled her eyes at Lin Gu. What epilepsy? Do you know how to talk? If you don't know how to talk, don't talk nonsense. I'm telling the truth. Just now, when I rushed into the bathroom to carry her, I saw something that looked like white foam at the corner of her mouth. I really thought that she had a relapse. Lin Gu said, but when we got into the car, it was gone. Did I see wrongly? Fangya wanted to save Han Yen-er's face. She said to Lin Gu, you must have seen wrong. You really need to get treatment for your eyes. Why am I going to receive treatment? Aren't I doing pretty well? Lin Gu blinked after saying that. I'm sorry. I made you guys worry. Han Yen-er was still very embarrassed. Don't listen to him. I know you don't have that kind of disease. You're an artist. You have to sing and dance on stage. If you had that kind of disease, they would have found out in advance. They wouldn't let you go on stage. Fangya said. Don't be too embarrassed. It's all because he doesn't know how to talk. Lin Gu closed his mouth and nodded. He didn't want to talk anymore. It's my problem. I don't blame him. Han Yen-er said and lowered her head. She knew what she had been through the most. But she didn't dare to say it. She was afraid that once she said it, no one would look up to her anymore. So, Han Yen-er chose to stay silent. She wanted to use silence to cover everything. Do you need to go to the hospital? Do a full body check? Fangya asked. Han Yen-er quickly waved her hand. No need. I'm fine. I'm really fine. I'm much better. Just now, it was just a loss of control of my emotions. My body is fine. Of course, Han Yen-er didn't dare to go to the hospital. What if the hospital found out that her condition wasn't a psychological problem, but a relapse of her drug addiction? How would she explain everything then? How would she explain it to others? At that time, how would Lin Gu and Fangya look at him? Would they still treat her as a person? Perhaps not anymore. Because Han Yen-er looked down on herself when she was in this state. She looked down on herself when she was addicted to drugs. How could she expect others to look up to her? Just now, she was addicted. She had been in a nervous state the whole day, so she didn't get addicted. But after coming to Huaxia and eating this meal, she suddenly relaxed. When the sense of crisis disappeared, Han Yen-er couldn't control herself and suddenly became addicted. Once this kind of thing happened, it was out of her control. Han Yen-er quickly went to the bathroom to prevent herself from losing control in front of Lin Gu and Fangya. But cold water couldn't wake her up. If it wasn't for her last shred of dignity that gave her willpower, the fact that she didn't shout for fans in front of Lin Gu and Fangya was already the best she could do. Han Yen-er almost broke down. After what had just happened, Han Yen-er realized that her crisis was not over yet. Although she was now in Huaxia, how could she get rid of her drug addiction? Every time she was addicted, if she couldn't get rid of it in time, the pain would make it impossible for her to stay rational. Han Yen-er didn't want anyone to know about this. She didn't want to be looked down upon. She wanted to change everything and change herself, so she didn't want anyone to know about this stain. Compared to all the other stains, this was probably the only stain that Han Yen-er didn't dare to admit. This was the most shameful thing to do. Han Yen-er didn't want anyone to know. Absolutely not. Chapter 34-27. When they arrived at the Sky Entertainment Hotel, Bai Xiaoye had already prepared a room for Han Yen-er. Han Yen-er thanked Bai Xiaoye many times before going back to her room to rest. Lin Gu and Fangya, who had completed their mission, also went home. Bai Xiaoye called Chou Yun and asked her to go to the bar for a drink to relax after a stressful day. After all, Ruan Qingxuang had gone back to her hometown, and the two of them were bored at home. Chou Yun had been waiting at the company for Bai Xiaoye to finish her work at the hotel and go home with her. Now that she said she wanted to go for a drink, Chou Yun didn't refuse. After settling down on Qingdao for so long, Chou Yun's hostility had almost disappeared. In the eyes of ordinary people, she had become an ordinary white-collar worker. Chou Yun originally thought life without Guagua would be boring, but after a long time, she found that she had adapted to her current life. Although she had never thought that her current life would be like this, it was still a wonderful thing to live at this pace. They weren't girls who often went to nightclubs, so as soon as they entered the bar, they were targeted by a few guys with ulterior motives. After all, the fresh goods in the bar were the most popular. Many girls who were rotten in the bar couldn't arouse the interest of these guys, no matter how beautiful they were. Soon, some people wanted to get close to them, but Chou Yun's cold personality didn't give them any face. The few men had their noses covered in dust and drank a few glasses of wine to drown their sorrows. They felt unreconciled and wanted to use the alcohol to stir up some trouble. They really didn't believe that the two girls would be difficult to deal with. If they provoked them, they would force themselves on them. After all, from what they knew, girls who liked to go to nightclubs were easy to ask out. However, just as these guys were about to provoke Chou Yun and Bai Xiaoye again, someone patted them from behind. They looked back and immediately grinned. "Hello, Brother Meng. Don't provoke the two of them. Otherwise, you won't even know how you died." Mengzi was the boss of this place. He used to work with Shi Lei. After Shi Lei retired, Mengzi opened this place with some money that Shi Lei gave him. Mengzi's place was quite clean. There was absolutely no trading of illegal goods or pills. If Mengzi did not allow it, whoever dared to do this here would have their arms and hands broken as long as they were caught by him. There was no room for tolerance. Therefore, the cleanliness of Mengzi's place had gained some reputation in Guqin Island. Chou Yun and Bai Xiaoye chose to come here because of its good reputation. They wouldn't go to places with bad rumors. The few guys looked at Mengzi's serious expression, and their faces became more and more embarrassed. "Brother Mengzi, we just want to be friends, absolutely no other thoughts." "I know very well what you're thinking." Mengzi glared at them. "There are plenty of girls here who like to play. If you provoke those girls, I won't meddle. It's a matter of one's willingness to be beaten and the other is willing to be beaten. It's not my place to interfere, but they can't. Brother Mengzi, aren't all the girls who come out to play the same? I'm not negotiating with you, I'm warning you." Mengzi didn't have the time to talk nonsense. "They're not for you toads to drool over. Hurry up and get out of here. Don't wait until I'm angry to know that you're wrong. Brother Mengzi, you don't have to, right? Okay. We got it. We promise not to provoke them." They were a little bored, but after all, Mengzi was quite powerful. They couldn't afford to provoke him, so they could only leave obediently. They didn't dare to do anything that would make Mengzi unhappy under his nose. Mengzi ignored them and walked straight to Chou Yun and Bai Xiaoye, asking someone to send a bottle of wine over. "Boss Su, how are you doing recently?" Although Mengzi was older than Su Yun, he still treated Su Yun as a big brother out of respect for Shi Lei. Chou Yun and Bai Xiaoye were dazed. Seeing Mengzi bring the wine over, they were puzzled and confused. If he didn't mention Su Yun, Chou Yun would have already thrown the word, "Get out," at him. "Oh. Let me introduce myself. I'm Mengzi. I used to hang out with Brother Lei." Mengzi realized that they didn't know him, so he immediately said, "I went to Chanyu Group to find Brother Lei. I saw you when I brought something to him." Although Chou Yun and Bai Xiaoye didn't know Mengzi, Mengzi knew them and knew who they were. "Your Brother Lei's friend." Bai Xiaoye nodded. "My brother is doing well." "Ha, thanks for your concern." Chou Yun glanced at Mengzi and nodded slightly as a greeting. "This is my place. If you want to come and play in the future, just let me know at any time. I will let the people in the place serve you well." Mengzi was not polite at all. He just spoke honestly. After all, he did this to give face to Brother Lei. "Thank you." Bai Xiaoye smiled. "If I want to come out and play in the future, I'll definitely come and support you." Mengzi hurriedly said, "You're giving me face by coming. It's my honor." Bai Xiaoye took the wine and said, "Then we won't stand on ceremony. We'll leave the wine here." "Okay." Mengzi nodded. He saw that Chou Yun didn't like to talk, so he didn't want to disturb her. "Then you guys go ahead and have fun. If you need anything, ask them to call me. You can greet the staff here. All the expenses today will be on me." "That won't do. We're here to support you. We'll leave the wine as a token of our appreciation, but we can't be so impolite anymore." Bai Xiaoye said, "Go ahead. If I need anything, I'll definitely look for you." "Okay. Take your time and have fun." After saying that, Mengzi left and went back to do his own work. Seeing Mengzi greet them and serve them wine, those guys cursed in their hearts. Of course, they only dared to curse in their hearts and say it behind their backs. He pretended to be a wolf in sheep's clothing and said that we can't get those two girls, but he went over to get close to them himself. "His trick is too obvious," one of them said unhappily. Anyway, the music in the bar was loud, and Mengzi couldn't hear them. "Yeah, Mengzi is really unethical. Forget it, don't talk about it anymore. This is someone else's place. If we have the ability, this place is ours. What kind of girl can't we play with? We definitely won't listen to his preaching. Since we're not as good as him, we shouldn't be dissatisfied. Of course we're dissatisfied. We can't mess around in his place. Mengzi won't be able to control us when we go out later." The last guy snorted. "I don't believe there's a girl that I can't get." "Okay, brother. We'll listen to you. What should we do later?" "We'll wait for them to leave and follow them, then." The few of them hugged their heads and began to discuss. As they talked, they all laughed out loud. It was as if they had encountered a great thing. Their faces were full of joy. It was soon past midnight. Chou Yun and Bai Xiaoye had drunk a lot. They called for a designated driver and then got up and walked out of the bar. As soon as the two of them walked out, those guys immediately followed their footsteps and walked out. Each of them had a covetous look on their faces. Chou Yun and Bai Xiaoye were not ordinary people. They immediately sensed the abnormality behind them as soon as they walked out. To the two of them, the trash behind them were simply weak characters. They couldn't even be bothered to pay attention to them. "Sister Chou Yun, those guys really don't know what's good for them. It seems that they won't give up if we don't teach them a lesson." Bai Xiaoye sighed helplessly. "It's too troublesome to be beautiful. Everywhere I go, I have to worry. It's your fault for wanting to come here to drink. If you didn't come here to drink, this wouldn't have happened." Chou Yun was also helpless. "What should we do now? Of course, we can't let them continue to be so arrogant." Bai Xiaoye made a prompt decision. "I won't let them off so easily." "Then you can deal with it however you want," Chou Yen said indifferently. "Even if Bai Xiaoye crippled them here today, it wouldn't be a big deal. Even if these guys were unlucky, they wouldn't even know how they died." "Then I'll be willful for once." Bai Xiaoye turned around and glared at the men behind her. Chapter 34-28. The men didn't expect them to turn around so quickly and were startled. People with ulterior motives couldn't withstand the shock. "What do you want?" Bai Xiaoye asked. "Do you want to invite us in for a drink? Or do you want to take us somewhere else for a drink?" Hearing Bai Xiaoye's words, the leader of the group was amused. "Beauty, we just want to be friends. Since you have the same idea, what are we waiting for? Where do you want to drink? We'll take you there. Or, to my house. My house is very big. How about we drink at my house?" "Okay." Bai Xiaoye nodded. The other party didn't expect Bai Xiaoye to agree so quickly and was overjoyed. "But if you want us to drink with you, you have to be able to invite us first." Bai Xiaoye said, "Come, let's see if you can invite us." "What are you waiting for? Brothers, carry them to the car." The leader was overjoyed. He immediately called his brothers to team up and pounced on Bai Xiaoye and Chou Yun. But in the blink of an eye, all 4 of them were knocked to the ground. Bai Xiaoye sent one flying with a kick and another one with a punch. Chou Yun even sent 2 people flying with a kick. She didn't want to dirty her hands. Only then did the 4 guys realize the meaning of Mengzi's words. At this time, Mengzi also walked out of the bar with a few people. He saw Chou Yun and Bai Xiaoye leave the bar and realized that those guys were up to no good. He immediately chased after them with his men. At this time, the 4 guys were already knocked to the ground. "You bastards are quite bold, aren't you? How dare they not listen to what I say?" Mengzi scolded and called out to his subordinates. "Let them remember this." Mengzi's subordinates kicked them fiercely, punching and kicking them. Soon, the 4 toads were beaten black and blue. "I'm really sorry." Mengzi apologized awkwardly. "No, it's us who caused you trouble." Bai Xiaoye said, "Thank you." At this time, the designated driver arrived. Bai Xiaoye and Chou Yun said goodbye to Mengzi and left. Mengzi turned around and looked at the 4 bruised and swollen guys. He fiercely said, "Didn't I tell you not to provoke them? Are all of you deaf? If you're deaf, then don't keep them as decorations. Old 8, bring me a knife. I'll help them cut off the excess." Hearing Mengzi's harsh words, the 4 people were scared witless. They lay on the ground and begged for mercy. Although Mengzi's current identity was a serious businessman, after all, he had been in this business before. These bastards knew about this. They believed that Mengzi could really do what he said. "Get away from me in the future. I don't want to see you bastards in this place." Mengzi scolded, "Get out." The 4 guys who received the imperial edict ran away immediately. They didn't even dare to drive their cars. They were afraid that Mengzi would order his subordinates to smash their cars. After these guys ran away, Mengzi felt much better. Seeing that Chou Yun and Bai Xiaoye had left safely, he went back with his subordinates. Guqin Island was beautiful at night. If one came to Guqin Island and didn't see the night scenery, it was equivalent to never having been here. Some people said that Guqin Island was like a warm and virtuous woman during the day. It was indeed not as passionate as Samba women, but it had a different flavor. Especially at night, it was even more charming. The sea and the lights intertwined to create a beautiful picture. The locals especially liked Tai Ping Cape, especially at night. The cool sea breeze accompanied the flashing lights on the coastline. People who strolled here couldn't help but slow down, afraid of disturbing the tranquility and beauty. Beer Street was also a typical summer night for Guqin people. Drinking beer and eating clams were definitely the standard for Guqin people. Once night fell, not only the natives of Guqin Island, but also tourists from all over the country would come to Beer Street to chat, drink beer, eat clams, and eat barbecue. In this era, Guqin Island had a 24-hour bookstore called Mingyu Island. It was the first 24-hour bookstore in the entire peninsula of the province. In this era, it was a good choice to enjoy the coffee in one's left hand and the book in the other. Accompanying the tranquility of Guqin Island at night, it was a good choice to spend a beautiful night. As for the dazzling seafood feast, the Sichuan hot pot that was so spicy that no one had any friends, the northeastern restaurants with strong flavors, the street skewers that everyone loved, the western restaurants with high style. The delicacies of Qingdao at night were innumerable. Bai Xiaoye had introduced these to Han Yen before she left. Bai Xiaoye told Han Yen that if she wanted to have fun at night, she couldn't miss out on these places. But Han Yen was not in the mood at all. She stood by the window of the hotel and looked at the night view outside. Her mind was getting heavier and heavier. Han Yen knew that she had been addicted once. She believed that the second time would come soon. She knew that she couldn't make it through the night. So, Han Yen was not in the mood for anything else. She hated Chairman Song, who had made her addicted to drugs. But at this time, the hatred was meaningless. Who asked her to trust others so easily? Who asked her to be controlled so easily? In order to control his artist, Chairman Song had used all kinds of despicable means, including making her addicted to drugs. Drug addiction was the easiest way to control a person. Once Han Yen's drug addiction kicked in, She would do whatever the chairman wanted her to do. At that time, she would have no dignity at all. Han Yen knew that other than her, there were others who felt the same way. She hated herself for being so useless. Why did she have so little willpower? Why couldn't she withstand the torture of drug addiction every time? Because of this, she fell deeper and deeper, unable to escape from Chairman Song's control. This made her drug addiction worse and worse, and she became more and more unrestrained. In the beginning, she only needed it once every 3 to 5 days. As she got more and more addicted to drugs, she needed it every day. If she couldn't get it, she would lose herself, just like in the bathroom at the Pig Trotter Hotel. Han Yen was on the verge of breaking down. How could she get rid of this disgusting situation? She wanted to get rid of the drug addiction's control, but once the addiction kicked in, she couldn't control it. The first time she lost control, she could make up an excuse. But after that, once, twice, and thrice, who would believe her? The truth that she was addicted to drugs would be exposed sooner or later. Thinking of this, Han Yen felt as if she had been struck by lightning. This was her most fatal stain. She couldn't let Su Yun and the others know. Absolutely not. Han Yen stood in front of the window and kept muttering to herself, "No, no, absolutely not. I have to find a way to hide it." Just then, a wave of pain began to rise from the bottom of her heart. Han Yen realized that she was about to get addicted again. She curled up into a ball and hid in a corner. At this moment, she could only let herself cry silently. She couldn't let anyone hear her cry. Pain. Struggle. Hesitation. Hesitation. This time, it lasted for nearly an hour. When Han Yen came to her senses again, she was soaked in cold sweat. She couldn't bear the pain anymore. Once this thing started to kick in, it would continue to kick in, over and over again, until it drove her crazy. This was the reason why Han Yen could never quit. Anyone's will would be completely destroyed by this repeated torture. Han Yen's heart was in a complete panic. Her experience told her that the next time she was addicted to the drug, it would be even shorter. The first time, it would be 12 hours. The second time, it would be 6 hours. Then it would be 2 hours. Then it would be 1 hour. In the end, every minute would be torture. As long as she couldn't get what she wanted, she would always be in that kind of pain. Yes, every second would be painful. At that time, no one would be able to recognize their own family. Han Yen had experienced that feeling before, so she didn't want to experience it again. She had to find a way to solve this problem. Yes, she had to solve it. She just needed to get the drugs and control her addiction. Then, her secret stain wouldn't be discovered. Then, she wouldn't be looked down upon by Su Yun and the others. Chapter 34-29. In this state, Han Yen had completely lost her mind. She rushed out of the room as fast as she could. She was sweating profusely due to the pain of the addiction. Being blown by the cold wind, her breathing became a little difficult. Even so, Han Yen still rushed to the side of the road to hail a taxi. However, she didn't see a single one, which made her feel very surprised. At this time, Han Yen suddenly remembered that since she came to Huaxia, she didn't seem to have seen a single taxi, which was quite unexpected. In fact, this represented the change of an era. Just like in the past, the illegal internet cafes were in full swing every day. It could be said that there were machines everywhere and bugs were all over the place. But now, fewer and fewer people went out to go online. The popularization of computers and the popularization of the internet meant the decline of a super industry. It was the same for taxis. Now in Huaxia City, not only in remote cities, even in towns and villages, almost every family had a car. Even if they didn't have a car when they went out, they could get an express or a special car by shaking their mobile phones casually. Taxis were getting less and less popular, which was the same as the end of the era of internet cafes. At this time, if one went astray and chose the wrong industry, they would definitely cry. But no one could be blamed for this. Before choosing an industry, If one blindly jumped into it without understanding the era of the industry, they would definitely have to pay the price. Fortunately, Han Yen didn't get a taxi, but a private car. There was a line of words on the back of the private car: "Private car, free. Stop at a wave, address strike." Han Yen's Chinese wasn't particularly good, but she could roughly understand these few simple words. "Beauty, where are you going?" "I'll take you." A young man in the car said, "I can't get a taxi on the side of the road these days. The taxi is on strike." Han Yen was a little surprised, but she actually rejected the invitation of a stranger. After all, Huaxia was not a place that was safe and sound in her impression. She was worried that the driver had ulterior motives. It was not surprising that Han Yen was worried. There were always perverts in society these days. And the greater the social pressure, the more perverts there were. There were more and more news of perverts suddenly hurting innocent people. In fact, there was a very simple way to put an end to all of this, which was to restore the inhumane and cruel torture of the past. Don't talk about civilized society and humanitarianism. Those who live in a civilized society but do not do civilized things and do cruel things are not qualified to talk about humanitarianism. Talk about human rights. They weren't humans. Of course, these were all perverts who harmed innocent people. For those who were forced to kill by corrupt officials and bullies, and only killed the corrupt officials and bullies, they should still be exempt. It was a pity that the law was too rigid. It would be perfect if the law could be more flexible. However, once the law could be flexible, it would become a plaything for the rich to play with. In any case, there were contradictions in everything. He believed that he would be able to find a balance sooner or later. The young man in the car saw that Han Yen was worried, so he smiled and said, "Don't worry, I'm not a bad guy. If you don't believe me, you can check if I'm telling the truth. Or you can take a picture of my license plate and send it to your family." Why are the taxis on strike? Han Yen wondered. The impact of the internet on the traditional taxi industry is too great, so the taxi drivers are not willing to do it. The young man in the car said, "They said they would go on strike for 5 days to put pressure on the government. Now it's been 3 days. 3 days? Isn't that a big impact? Won't the whole city be paralyzed?" Han Yen was surprised. Paralyzed? Of course not. It's smoother. In just a few hours, the traffic congestion on Qingdao was significantly reduced compared to the same time in the past. Traffic violations such as lane grabbing, lane change, and emergency stops have also been reduced. The young man in the car said, "This is definitely a great contribution to the city's traffic." Han Yen couldn't help laughing. This was really interesting. The organizers of the taxi strike must not have expected this. They probably expected that without their hard work to serve the people of Qingdao would not be able to move an inch. Their strike was actually not for the government. They wanted to teach the people a lesson and let the people realize the importance of their industry. However, the fact was that the people of Qingdao were not affected by the strike for a few days. Instead, their happiness index seemed to have increased. Taxis used to be an important and inseparable part of people's lives. Now that they were suddenly gone, they realized that taxis were not important. Of course, the taxi drivers were really sad. They used to think that they were an important and inseparable part of people's lives. Now they suddenly found that after they left, they were expected to never come back. There was a very appropriate analogy. It was like a king who thought that without him, the country would not be a country and the people would be in misery. In fact, the people had been tolerating him for a long time, but he didn't know it. Such a king was arrogant, stupid, and muddle-headed. He thought that without him, the people would not be able to live a happy life. He thought that he was very important. He said that it was his duty to serve the people. However, he often behaved barbarically and rudely because he monopolized the right to serve the people. When serving the people was monopolized, service became a right instead of an obligation. What the driver of the rental car had to defend was the unique service right that had the characteristics of a taxi driver. They thought that without them to serve the people would not be able to move an inch. However, this was not the case. The Great Revolution had come, and the old system would eventually collapse. The backwardness of the traditional taxi system was already well known. In order to protect this backward system, some people actually used violent means. In Qingdao alone, taxi drivers who did not participate in the strike were threatened by those who participated in the strike. In some cities, taxi drivers even went out on the streets to play fishing, intercepting and even beating up drivers who wanted to book a taxi online. This was a kind of robbery. In order to protect the exclusive right to serve the people that would eventually be lost, some people had already made a fool of themselves. No matter how noble the slogan was, no matter how violent the means were, it was unwise to protect a backward system and would eventually fail. The appearance of the private taxi also, to a certain extent, showed the problem of quality. How many people had scolded the taxi service for having a bad attitude, refusing to take passengers and charging for detours? That's right. Back then, when the taxi industry was doing well and everyone was making money, when people could not get a taxi and were in a hurry to grab a taxi, taxi drivers were indeed very arrogant and even had the right to choose passengers. Today's situation could only be blamed on some people who were looking for trouble and destroying their own industry. Beauty, if you don't believe me, then I can't do anything. I'll go first. Bye. The young man in the car waved his hand. There are still people who need me. I will definitely resist the strike. This kind of extreme means must be opposed. Then, can you take me wherever I go? Han Yen asked. Of course, my service is free, the young man in the car said. At this time, Han Yen suddenly thought of a problem. She really did not have any yuan on her. I won't let you help me for free, but I don't have Hua Xia money. I only have Korean one. Is that okay? Han Yen asked. The young man in the car was shocked. Oh, I didn't expect you to be a Semida. But the Semida of Qingdao are not as good as you in Chinese. Your Chinese teacher is from the northeast. Your last syllable sounds a bit like Debazi. Han Yen did not understand what he meant by Debazi. She was only concerned about whether she could use Korean won for the ride. Can I pay you Korean won? If you are a Semida, then I will definitely take your money. My car only serves the people of Hua Xia. The young man in the car said, Korean won is fine. I will check the exchange rate and give you whatever you want. Han Yen immediately took out 50,000 Korean won from her wallet and handed it to the young man in the car. The young man took the money and calculated it. It was less than 300, about 290. As long as it was not out of Qingdao, it would be enough for fuel anywhere. Get in the car. Tell me where you want to go. I want to go to the most chaotic nightclub in your area. Han Yen said, Do you know? Oh, you really have a strong taste. People usually go to the least chaotic nightclub. You want to go to the most chaotic nightclub. The young man was shocked. You want to join the Hua Xia underworld? Chapter 34:30. Han Yen could only make up an excuse. I am in a bit of trouble, so I want to see if I can find someone to help me at a place like that. If you were a man from Hua Xia, I would definitely warn you not to do this, and I wouldn't take you there. The young man said, But you are Semida, so do as you please. I do know a place that is very chaotic. Are you sure you want to go? Yes. Han Yen nodded hard. The young man shrugged and didn't say anything more. He took Han Yen there. It was a place that had just opened half a year ago. The people who opened it were a few southwest wolves. They were from a big province in the southwest of Hua Xia, so they were called that. These southwest wolves were quite ferocious. They were even more ferocious than some of the northeast tigers on Guqin Island. Some time ago, people from the two regions had a dispute over something. After the fight, several northeast tigers were seriously injured and hospitalized. One of them almost died. This matter was also noticed by the police, and these southwest wolves became the focus of the police. The people of Hua Xia had always been fierce, and this was no secret. Everyone in the country knew about it. Although the people there were generally thin and small, with dark skin and protruding cheekbones, and some people even walked unsteadily. In addition, the economy there was not developed, and it was close to the source of the drug epidemic. There were many poor people there, and it was easy for people from big provinces to look down on them. However, since ancient times, the people there had been fierce, and it was absolutely undeniable that they were brave in battle. Subjectively, people would think that the people in the northeast were the most fierce in the country. In fact, the people in the northeast were fierce, while the people in Huaxia were fierce. If they really fought, they wouldn't lose at all. The people in Huaxia had been fierce since ancient times. They were famous for fighting with the sky, the earth, and people. The people there were not afraid of officials or power. They would fight with the officials over small things and complain everywhere. People there dared to rebel. The uprisings of the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, the Black Flag Army, the Bei's Uprising, and the grudges between Zhong Ren's new Guangxi faction and Old Jiang were not mentioned. In many villages, county and town officials, and even the police, would not easily enter without more than 10 people. Why? He was afraid of being beaten. The people over there were really born with a fearless temperament. Many of the people in the village had hidden cannons, homemade sand guns, and all kinds of large sabers and spears. They would often engage in armed melees. Of course, most of the people in Huaxi and Nan were very good. Their ethnic groups were highly united, and there was no distinction between you and me. They were very loyal to the country and were famous for their courage to kill enemies since ancient times. Moreover, the people over there lived an easy life. They were easily satisfied with material things and were content with a little wealth. During the War of Resistance against Japan, there were over 1 million young men in the southern part of Guangxi province, which had a population of 13 million. They even became the main force of the Central Army and the elite forces of the Gue faction. The Japanese had invaded the area twice, and under the situation where their main forces were fighting against the Japanese, the local people spontaneously armed themselves and fought guerrilla warfare, causing heavy casualties to the Japanese. At that time, the Japanese had suffered a lot in Huaxi. They were surrounded by enemies and did not dare to move out. In the end, they were forced to retreat. So, from this point of view, the people over there were more ruthless than the Northeasterners? Of course, some people said that the Northeasterners were soft, but that was also one-sided. The Northeasterners were also very fierce. The Northeasterners did not resist much because of the influence of history, not because they were soft. Because before the Japanese invaded, the Russians had done a lot of evil things. They would often come to snatch and defile women. When the Japanese came in, these things did not happen. At most, they would pay the public grain. There was no more trouble like the Russians. Compared to before, it was actually more stable. That was why there was a feeling of no resistance. In fact, the people of Huaxia were quite tough when facing the fierce invaders back then. It was only because of the huge gap in equipment that they were bullied so badly. However, since more than 2,000 years ago, when the Xiaoyu Emperor, Yi Shu-song, led 50,000 Lingnan native soldiers and killed hundreds of thousands of Qin soldiers, the Guangxi soldiers had always been the symbol of the southern country's strength. The bravery of the local soldiers made all their opponents sigh in admiration. The tradition of a place producing elite soldiers had not changed for thousands of years. It was the only place in Huaxia. When the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom started, the Taiping Army only had 30,000 people in the beginning. These 30,000 people were all from the Guangxi Army. They fought all the way to Nanjing. How powerful! After the northern expedition, the Taiping Army's soldiers were mainly from An and Jiang. Their fighting strength could not be compared to the Guangxi Army of the past. That was why there was a saying that the Taiping Army's fighting strength of 300,000 in the middle and later period was far from the 30,000 at the beginning. In short, the people from that place were ruthless, tough, and unafraid of death. Therefore, the Southwest Wolves who came to Qingdao to set up a place were able to suppress the local tyrants and the Manchurian Tigers, who had the most foreigners in Qingdao. They played around with the place. It was really not easy. Although they played around, they were often troubled by the local tyrants and the Manchurian tigers. However, the southwest wolves from southwest China did not care. Although they suffered losses, they did not let the troublemakers gain much. Because of this, the police came to find them many times. However, they still did what they wanted and did not take it seriously. Let's put it this way. The A-level wanted criminal Ma Jiajue, who shocked the country, was from the same place as them. Han Yen Air said that she wanted to find the most chaotic place. The young man who drove the car took her to that place. It was definitely the most chaotic place. The young man knew that Han Yen Air was Korean and wanted to go to the most chaotic place. His impression of her was very bad. The two of them did not speak on the way. Han Yen Air inadvertently saw the young man's bulging wallet. There was a red note in the corner of the wallet. She suddenly realized that this Comrade Lei Feng was rich. Can you do me a favor? Han Yen Air suddenly asked. The young man froze and asked, "What favor? Can you exchange some Korean won for me?" Han Yen Air said, "I will exchange 50,000 Korean won for 100 renminbi. What do you think?" The young man grinned and said, "Beauty, are you kidding? 50,000 Korean won can be exchanged for 290 renminbi at the bank. You want to exchange it for 100 renminbi? Did you learn math from a PE teacher or an art teacher? The bank is closed. I only have Korean won on me. I can't use it." Han Yen Air said, "When I gave you the money, you were not surprised. So, I know that you must have seen Korean won before. That is why you will believe me." The young man didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Han Yen was right. He had been to Korea for more than a month, so he was familiar with their money. If he hadn't seen Korean money before, he wouldn't have dared to accept it. After all, Korean won looked like paper money, and the denomination was so big that people who hadn't seen it before would be confused. "Then, are you willing to give it to me at a loss?" The young man said, "Although I am quite greedy, I am not stupid when it comes to taking advantage of others. Are you sure you want to do this?" "Of course," Han Yen Air said without hesitation. The young man pursed his lips. After all, he was a successful young man in the country of etiquette. If he took advantage of her, he would look bad. He said, "Forget it. I don't want to take advantage of you. How about this? You give me 100,000 Korean won, and I will give you 500 Korean won. Although on the surface, I will have to waste time and effort to go to the bank tomorrow to exchange the money. So, this will be my compensation for missing work." "Okay." Han Yen nodded vigorously. That was twice as much as she had expected. The $5,000 in the young man's wallet was exchanged for 1 million Korean won for Han Yen. Han Yen was very happy, but the young man looked at the Korean won and laughed. "If I go home and tell my mother that I earned this money by pulling in customers, she will definitely think I pulled a ghost. She will find a peach-wood sword and stab me." At this time, they arrived at their destination. The young man stopped at the entrance of the nightclub and said, "Okay, you go have fun. Bye." "Thank you." Han Yen took the money and got out of the car. She had a reason for choosing the most chaotic place. She believed that the whole world was the same. Places with those kinds of goods would always appear in the most chaotic places because the most chaotic places were the safest. Although Han Yen Air had no experience in dealing, she had heard a lot about it. After all, Song Zilong used to do business in this area. Chapter 34-31. Once, Han Yen was asked by Chairman Song to help Song Zilong entertain a guest. During the dinner, she overheard the conversation between the two. The guest was a nightclub king who owned many bars in Korea. Song Zilong hoped to get his approval and let him arrange for someone to sell goods in his bar. As long as the guest agreed, Song Zilong would give him a profit of 2 billion Korean won every year. That was a terrifying number. Han Yen didn't know until then that there were so many crimes happening under the cover of the night. Places like bars where good and bad people mixed together often became the best place for them to do business. It was difficult to be noticed and watched unless the police focused all their energy on this place. However, the police didn't have that much energy. After all, this kind of place was closed during the day. However, the police had to work during the day. They couldn't spend 24 hours a day on it. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't be able to afford it. It was the same in Huaxia. The Drug Enforcement Police had the hardest time because these kinds of crimes always happened at night, so they suffered the most. People could see the traffic police directing cars at the congested intersection under the hot sun, but they could never see the drug enforcement officers' bloodshot eyes hidden in the dark. In this way, many drug enforcement officers were tortured, but in the end, many crimes still escaped their eyes. It wasn't easy for any profession. Han Yen believed that the evil transactions in all countries were similar. Since almost all of these evil retail transactions happened at night in Korea, Huaxia should be the same. That was why she wanted to find the most chaotic place in Korea. In a chaotic place, it was easy to find people who did this kind of business. Han Yen got out of the car and went to the place. Although she was wearing a mask, her perfect figure still attracted a lot of attention. Although Han Yen guessed that there might be such transactions in this place, she didn't know how to find a seller or how to ask, which gave her a headache. "Beauty, what would you like to drink?" "Beer." Han Yen needed to stay awake, so she wasn't interested in drinking. After ordering beer, Han Yen began to search. She tried to use her eyes to judge who might be the seller. But after drinking a bottle of beer for half an hour, she still couldn't find anyone who felt like her. This was actually not difficult to predict. After all, if the person who sold the drugs directly pasted a "I am selling drugs" label on his forehead, would the police let him go? There was no way he would let it go. Just as Han Yen was feeling hopeless, a voice came from behind her. One of the two young men said, "3 fruits and a pot of pork. Prepare them for me first. I'll come and get them in an hour." "What? You're not going to have a drink today?" "I want to have a drink too, but I have an appointment with 2 girls. I'm going to pick them up now. They want to eat fruit." "Ha ha ha, but fruit is no longer enough to quench my thirst. I like to eat it together with pork. It's more exciting that way." "Old Joe, you really know how to play. All right, leave it to me to prepare. You can just pick up the items after you pick them up. Take it easy when you play at night. Haha, don't be too tired. It'll be bad if you're drained by the 2 girls. Be careful of kidney deficiency. As long as there are fruit and pork, I have endless energy." After the man finished speaking, he threw down a stack of money and turned to leave. That stack of money was estimated to be 10,000 yuan. What kind of fruit could be so expensive? What kind of pork could be so expensive? A shocking thought flashed through Han Yen-er's mind. It was a secret code. Yes, it must be a secret code. They couldn't directly call out the name of the drug, so they came up with a secret code. Many people in this kind of illegal business were like this. They came up with a secret code for illegal drugs. It was much safer that way. After the man left, Han Yen remembered his face. She was going to find an opportunity to ask him. These criminals were very smart. Although they were dealing with drugs, they didn't directly say the drugs, but used a secret code. In fact, the fruit they were talking about referred to magoo, and the pork they were talking about referred to ice. One was 1 gram, and 1 pot was 1 bag. So, the guy asked for 3 fruits and a pot of pork, which was 3 grams of magoo and 1 bag of ice. Han Yen saw the opportunity. When the guy was alone, she quietly walked to his side. When the guy saw a beautiful woman with a mask in the middle of the night, he froze for a moment, but he didn't take the initiative to speak. I want to talk to you about something," Han Yen said carefully. The guy looked around, as if it was an instinctive reaction. Seeing that there was nothing out of the ordinary, he slowly said, "What is it?" Can I buy some fruit from you?" Han Yen was nervous. After all, this was the first time she came out to get her own goods. In the past, Song Zilong provided them, so she didn't have to do such a dangerous thing. The guy's eyes suddenly became nervous. After all, they were regulars, and they had never seen a stranger come out to buy from them. The guy was obviously the lowest of the Southwest wolves, so he couldn't make the decision. He refused. "Beauty, we are in a bar. You came here not to drink, but to eat fruit? If you want to eat fruit, go to a fruit shop." After saying that, the guy turned around and left. He must have informed his big brother first and asked him to arrange for someone to keep an eye on her. This really made him break out in a cold sweat. Han Yen knew that the guy didn't know her, so he was very cautious. She didn't ask and continued to sit in the bar. After drinking one bottle of beer, she ordered a second one. She was still waiting for the guy to show up. She believed that when the guy came back, she would be able to see the transaction and be sure. An hour later, the guy who bought the goods came back. The seller immediately came out to meet him, and then led him to a dark corner at the back. At this time, Han Yen followed. She saw with her own eyes that the guy gave the guy 3 red pills and a bag of white crystals. Han Yen knew what the red pills were. This was because Song Zilong had given her this thing. Moreover, she had also been harmed by this thing and had been controlled by it. This vermilion pill was Magu. It was something that came from Jin Shan Jiao. Magu was the Thai translation. Magu had a long history. In fact, it was an evolved version of ice. It had been used to harm people in both her past and present life. In 1893, a bastard chemist from Japan synthesized methylpropylamine, or ice as we often call it. Because it stimulates the central nervous system, it can eliminate sleepiness and relieve fatigue. At first, it was called an awakening agent. During World War II, some countries in Europe and the United States used ice as a military drug to strengthen the soldiers' movements, eliminate fatigue, and maintain vigilance for a long time. The Nazi Germany gave ice to its soldiers as a stimulant, especially the SS and Wehrmacht during the Soviet-German War. It was said that Hitler injected himself with ice. At that time, Japan used the colony, which was now Korea, as a methamphetamine production base. It was used as a military supply for the army. Thinking back to the war in World War II, Japan's kamikaze special attack team, why did they commit suicide? It was because they ate too much of it. Their brains were completely damaged. After World War II, the world began to realize the dangers of this drug and started to ban it. At that time, many Japanese took it. It was not until 1954 that Japan made a law to ban the use of ice. To this day, the Japanese were generally ugly, and their brains were not very bright. They were arrogant and self-harming. Perhaps it was because the ordinary people in Japan had abused this drug too much back then, leaving behind a side effect for their descendants. Their genes were ruined. Now, ice had not disappeared, and more Magu was being sold around the world. Chapter 34-32. In Huaxia, this thing was called red pepper, ma guer, nagging medicine, strong tip medicine, and so on. One could tell that this thing was not a good thing at first glance. Because ma guer could allow the user to capture and feel a temporary sense of pleasure and excitement, this experience had a strengthening effect on the drug addict's drug-seeking behavior, so it was easy to get addicted. But after this pleasure and excitement, it was replaced by a severe depression, fatigue, and anger. This was a painful experience, and this pain was intertwined with a strong desire to seek out the excitement again, leading to a continuous craving and compulsive behavior that drove the addict deeper and deeper, unable to extricate himself. Ma guer's users were young and feminine, and it had a strong mental dependence. The pleasure, excitement, and hallucinogenic effect of ma guer were far greater than that of Bing and pill. It was needless to say how harmful it was. When Han Yen saw it, she wanted to go up and find the seller. This was her only chance, but she was worried that if she went up rashly, it would make the seller more suspicious of her and even less trustworthy, so she did not dare to go up directly. She had a headache about what she should do to make the seller believe that she was a person who sincerely wanted to buy from him. Just as Han Yen was hesitating, she was strangled by the neck. She did not even have a chance to speak before she was forcefully dragged into a separate room in the bar. With a bang, the door was closed. Han Yen raised her head in panic. Standing in front of her were the owners of the bar, a few fierce-looking, northwest wolves. Among these people, the leader was a guy who was neither tall nor strong. One could even say that he was a little thin and small. The other three people beside him looked more muscular than him. "Who are you?" the leader, who was vicious, asked directly. He had a pair of triangular eyes that made people feel cold at first sight. Han Yen looked at Triangular Eyes and said carefully, "Big brother, I just want to buy some fruit. I really just want to buy some fruit. Please don't misunderstand." Triangular Eyes looked Han Yen up and down. He gestured with his mouth and asked the brothers beside him to pull off Han Yen's mask. Seeing that it was a beautiful woman, they were all shocked. Thankfully, they didn't care about the entertainment industry. Even if they did, they wouldn't be able to recognize the name of a girl group member. After all, they all looked the same. "What a beauty! I didn't expect you to like eating fruits too," the Triangular Eyes said coldly. "Big brother, I'm begging you. I'm just buying fruits. Please let me go. I'm sorry if my unintentional actions have caused you to worry. A million apologies. My sincerest apologies." Han Yen nodded vigorously. "How did you know that I can buy fruits here?" asked the triangular-eyed man. "I guess," Han Yen said. "Guess." Han Yen quickly explained. "At first, I was just guessing that there might be some fruit I wanted. But I didn't know where to buy it. I looked around for a long time, but I couldn't think of anything. When I was about to give up, I heard someone say they wanted to buy some fruit and pork." "Then you can think of it." The Triangular Eye's gaze became even more sinister. He must be worried that the police were secretly investigating him. "Because this is a bar. It's impossible for anyone to come here to buy fruits and pork. So I had an idea," Han Yen said. "Then I waited. I waited for the person just now to come and get the goods. Then I followed him. I was sure when I saw Magoo." The Triangular Eyes suddenly walked to Han Yen's side. Han Yen immediately panicked. The Triangular Eyes put his nose on Han Yen's body and sniffed. Han Yen didn't know what he wanted to do, but she didn't dare to resist or move. When the Triangular Eyes heard that Han Yen recognized Magoo, he gave her two identities. One was a user, and the other was a drug enforcement officer. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to tell that it was Magoo at a glance in such a dimly lit place. To be able to make a correct judgment so quickly, it could only be a person who had used Magoo or a drug enforcement officer who studied all kinds of drugs every day. It was impossible for ordinary people to study this thing. "Big brother, what should we do? She doesn't smell like a police officer." The Triangular Eyes suddenly stood up straight. "You really want to buy fruits?" Han Yen nodded and said, "Yes, I'm here to buy fruits. I beg you, sell it to me. I swear, I swear, I swear, I will never go out and talk nonsense. If I talk nonsense, I will be struck by lightning. I will die a horrible death." The Triangular Eyes sneered, thinking that not many people who were infected with this thing could die a good death. "Well, since you are deliberately looking for me to buy fruits, then I will be friends with you." The Triangular Eyes said, 2,000 for one piece. "How much do you want?" 2,000. Han Yen was stunned. Thinking that it was in RMB, the price was really expensive. "So expensive." "Expensive?" The Triangular Eyes waved his hand disdainfully. "This price is not expensive. You don't know the situation now. Something happened in the Golden Triangle. A big drug lord was killed some time ago. Now the supply is very tight. If you don't want this price, there are many people who want it." Han Yen panicked when she heard this. People who were addicted didn't care about money at all. Not to mention 2,000, if she was addicted at this time, she wouldn't hesitate to pay 20,000. She would definitely want it immediately. This was the great danger of this thing. It could make people lose their consciousness. "I want it, I want it." Han Yen said and took out her money. Because the taxi driver only had 5,000, she only had enough to buy 2.5 pieces. But Han Yen knew how important this thing was to her, so she wanted more. Then she took out the remaining Korean won in her bag. Do you want foreign currency? These people didn't know Korean won at all. They looked at it and became angry. Are you trying to trick us with hell money? No, no, no. That's not it. This is Korean won, foreign currency. Han Yen quickly took it back and said, I only have 5,000 renminbi on me, and I want to buy more. If you don't take it, I'll take 2 for now. When I have more RMB, can I come back and buy more fruits? Triangle Eyes nodded. As long as you have money, you can come to us at any time. But if you don't have money, I advise you not to think too much. I am not a philanthropist, I won't give you fruits for free. Also, I am not interested in women, I am only interested in money. Remember, money. I only care about money, nothing else. Okay. Of course. Han Yen promised. Then if I come here to buy fruits in the future, who will I go to? Triangle Eyes pointed to his salesman and said, just go to him. When you come here in the future, just tell him what you want and how much you want. He will prepare it for you. Han Yen immediately took out all the money in her pocket, leaving 1,000 and giving the rest to the salesman. I want 2 fruits. The salesman looked at his brother one last time and made sure his brother was really going to add another buyer. Then he went to get the fruits for Han Yen. Han Yen was so excited that her legs trembled. Our brother is not interested in women, but I am. The guy next to Triangle Eyes said, if you don't have money and still want to eat fruits, come to me. Ha ha ha. As long as you know what I mean. Of course Han Yen understood, but she just smiled awkwardly. She didn't dare to get angry. Triangle Eyes stared at the guy next to him and looked a little upset. Don't cause me any trouble. Yes, brother. The guy quickly bowed his head. At this time, the 2 fruits Han Yen wanted were taken out and handed to her directly. Han Yen almost jumped up with excitement when she received the 2 pieces of magu. At least she could survive tonight and tomorrow. She was like a drowning person who had grabbed onto a life-saving straw. The feeling of escaping death made her feel comfortable all over. Thank you, thank you. Han Yen kept bowing. Just come to me in the future. Remember, come to me when you have enough money. If you don't have money, don't come. There is no point in coming. The guy warned Han Yen. Han Yen thanked him again and said she understood. After putting away the 2 pieces of magu, she left the bar. She was thinking about changing all the Korean won in her bank card to RMB as soon as possible. Otherwise, it would be too inconvenient in Huaxia. Usually, people wouldn't accept Korean won when buying things, let alone when buying something special like magu. It was even more impossible for them to accept foreign currency. Chapter 34-33. After Han Yen bought what she needed, she started to panic. She quickly left the bar and waited for a bus on the side of the road. However, there was still no bus. This time, she wasn't lucky enough to run into a police car. Not far from the intersection, there was a black car hidden in the darkness. The 2 plainclothes police officers in the car all focused on Han Yen. Brother 2, don't you think this girl is weird? The younger one asked Brother Tuesday. Brother 2 was just 40 years old and was the main force in the criminal investigation team. He had a lot of experience and the young people all trusted him. Brother 2 nodded. Normal people would be relaxed when they come out of a bar. They wouldn't be so nervous. She is suspicious. Lou, keep an eye on her. Brother 2, I think she's preparing to take a taxi now. The taxi drivers in our city are on strike these few days. Why don't we disguise ourselves as private cars and go over to pick her up and check out the situation? Xiao Lu suddenly had this idea. Don't do that. It's too risky. Brother 2 had many years of experience, so he wasn't as bold as Lu. It wasn't that Brother Two didn't have guts, but that he had been through a lot and was naturally careful. For example, those who got into accidents due to illegal overtaking and forced lane changes were usually just arrogant driving experts who had just driven for a few years. Experienced drivers who had been driving for 20 or 30 years wouldn't do that. Experienced drivers wouldn't force things when they weren't confident, because the more they drove, the more they were afraid of getting into trouble. It was the same for Brother Tuesday. He had been in this line of work since he was 21 years old. He had been in this field for 19 years now. He always said, "It's better to be safe than sorry." This was his catchphrase, and everyone in the criminal investigation unit knew about it. "Then what should we do?" Lou asked. Brother Two only said one word: wait. About 20 minutes later, a private car that was out at night to make some extra money suddenly saw Han Yen-er and drove to her side. "Beauty, do you want to take a taxi? There aren't any taxis right now. Take my car. It's cheap anyway," the driver invited. Han Yen-er, who already had experience in taking a taxi, didn't refuse. She immediately asked, "How much does it cost to go to Sky Entertainment Hotel?" "It's not far. It's just that there's a bit of traffic there. I can't get there smoothly. How about 50 yuan? "All right." When Han Yen-er heard how cheap it was, she immediately agreed. Thinking about how she had spent 50,000 Korean won to sit here, she felt stupid. When Han Yen-er got in the car, Brother Two immediately said to Lou, "Follow this car." Then, he took out a small notebook and wrote down the license plate number of the car. He was going to ask the traffic police to check it later. Xiao Lu completed his mission perfectly. He followed the car all the way to the entrance of the Sky Entertainment Hotel. Han Yen-er got out of the car and disappeared into the hotel. "Brother Two, what should we do now?" Xiao Lu was stunned. He couldn't believe that they were in the Sky Entertainment Hotel. Brother Two was also very surprised. Sky Entertainment Hotel was owned by Sky Entertainment Corporation. Most of the people who stayed here were artists from the entertainment industry. Could it be that the girl just now was also from the entertainment industry? Their temperaments were very similar. But there was one thing that Brother Two didn't understand. The CEO of Sky Entertainment Corporation was Su Yun. Even Brother Two, who didn't pay attention to the entertainment industry, knew that the reason was because of Chen Wei. Everyone in the police force knew that Chen Wei, the chief of the municipal bureau, was a friend of Sky Entertainment Group's chairman Su. Su was also a very supportive person in the police force. This was something that everyone in the police force knew as well. He could be said to be a role model for the cooperation between the police and the public. That was why Brother Two was surprised. For someone like CEO Su, he must have very strict requirements for the artists of Sky Entertainment Corporation. If they were addicted to drugs, he would probably just throw them away. "Have you heard of Sky Entertainment Corporation's CEO Su?" Brother Two asked. Xiao Lu nodded. "Of course I have. This hotel belongs to CEO Su. Brother Two, do you think we should go up and check it out?" "No." Brother Two shook his head. "If we misunderstand, it will cause unhappiness. You must have heard of the relationship between CEO Su and our city bureau chief Chen, right?" "I've heard a little about it." Xiao Lu said. "It's said that they have a good relationship. Before Director Chen came to Qingdao, he was friends with President Su of Sky Entertainment Group. Many people know about this. Director Chen also came to the opening ceremony of Sky Entertainment Group's film base." Brother Two nodded. "So if it's a misunderstanding, we will embarrass Chief Chen if we act rashly." Xiao Lu understood. But what if it's not a misunderstanding? "If it's not a misunderstanding, no matter who it is, the culprit will definitely be arrested," Brother Two said. Brother Two said, "Even if this matter may affect Sky Entertainment Corporation and Chairman Su, we cannot let it go. Chief Chen won't blame us for not giving him face, right?" Xiao Lu said. "If that girl is really addicted to drugs, it won't be a matter of saving Chief Chen's face." Brother Two said, "It's just that we can't be sure, so we can't act rashly. If we are sure, I won't care about anyone's face." Xiao Lu grinned. You won't even give Chief Chen face? This isn't about giving Chief Chen face, it's about our principles, Brother Two said. Brother Two said, even if this affects Manager Su's company, we can't just ignore it because of Chief Chen's reputation. If we don't do anything, then we're not giving Chief Chen any face. We all know what kind of person Chief Chen is. When it comes to matters of principle, he is absolutely impartial. I don't believe that he wouldn't tell us to stay out of this matter just because he heard that we suspected Sky Entertainment's artists. Xiao Lu chuckled. If Chief Chen is that kind of person, then even if I'm blind, I would still think that he is a good official. Brother Two was a classic example of someone who abided by principles. Perhaps many police officers left a bad impression on the public, but the Drug Enforcement Police had a good impression of them. This was because they were in a high position in the industry, and they had experienced life and death situations. For example, Brother Two had personally witnessed his colleagues being crippled by drug dealers, so he couldn't possibly let anyone who was related to drugs off. Although there was scum in the Drug Enforcement Police, and there were also those who colluded with drug dealers, and there were also those who suddenly became drug dealers when they were undercover. However, that was only a portion of them, not all of them. Brother Two was definitely someone who couldn't live under the same sky as drugs. Brother Two, don't spout nonsense. Sometimes, the speaker may not have the intention to listen. If this spreads to Chief Chen's ears, it will make you look arrogant, Xiao Lu hurriedly said. Spread what? There's only the two of us here. If this spreads, it will be your doing. I won't forgive you, Brother Two laughed. Xiao Lu hurriedly waved his hand. I'm not that kind of person. I definitely won't betray you, Brother Tuesday, don't worry. I'll definitely be your loyal subordinate. That's enough. I'm not afraid if this spreads. I didn't say anything that I can't say. Even if it's in front of Chief Chen, I still dare to say this, Brother Two said. A straight man isn't afraid of a crooked shadow. Chief Chen isn't that kind of person. He wouldn't do such a thing. If he was that kind of person, I wouldn't be the one who's guilty if I reprimanded him in front of him. Xiao Lu laughed bitterly. It was precisely because of Brother Two's straightforwardness that he had made so many contributions. In 19 years, he was only a team leader in the Drug Enforcement Police. Some people who were good at interpersonal relationships were much better than him. Sometimes, a person's disadvantage was because of their character. It was not about how much one could do, but how good one was at handling interpersonal relationships was how much one could do. Many people suffered because they didn't know how to deal with interpersonal relationships. Brother Two, what should we do now? Just go back like this? Xiao Lu asked. Brother Two nodded. Go back. If I can't find out who these people are, I won't give up. Xiao Lu laughed bitterly. Brother, I finally know why sister-in-law doesn't want to live with you. You work too hard for your job. Look at the Drug Enforcement Police. Who else works as hard as you? You don't care about anything other than work. Brother Two glared at Xiao Lu. Speaking of this, he was actually quite jealous. He knew that his wife loved him. Of course, he loved her and their child too. However, for their safety, Brother Two chose to separate. Back then, he was the one who proposed the divorce. She didn't say anything and agreed. After so many years, Brother Two still couldn't get over this hurdle in his heart. Although his ex-wife and children were also living in Qingdao, he hadn't seen them for so many years. He knew that he was a good policeman, but he was definitely not a good husband or a good father. In front of his family, he was a scumbag. He regretted that he shouldn't have gotten married and ruined other people's lives. Chapter 34-34. Xiao Lu realized that he had said the wrong thing, which made Brother Two a little annoyed. He quickly corrected himself. Brother Two, I think we should inform Chief Chen about this. I think with Chief Chen's relationship with Chief Su, it's good for Chief Chen to remind Chief Su about this. This way, Chief Su will pay attention to it. Brother Two nodded and felt that it was a good idea. What you said is feasible. Let's do as you said and inform Chief Chen. And Leave this matter to me tomorrow morning. Xiao Lu agreed. Tomorrow? Brother Tu was stunned. I say, Xiao Lu, how old are you? 7 years, Xiao Lu said. 7 years, you're not young anymore. You're already 30 years old. Why are you still doing things like a kid? I realized that in our criminal investigation unit, you rascals are all procrastinating. Why do you have to wait until tomorrow to deal with the things you find out today? Today's matter is done today, and tomorrow's matter will be done tomorrow. Don't you understand such a simple logic? Brother Tu lectured. Tomorrow comes after tomorrow. There are so many tomorrows. People of your generation must have heard the story of a sparrow building its nest when you were young, right? The sparrow that kept procrastinating and always wanted to build its nest tomorrow froze to death because of the winter snow. Xiao Lu smiled awkwardly. Brother Tu was really an educator. Of course, he knew that he was almost 30 years old, but Brother Tu still used the story of a primary school student to educate him. He was really drunk. Let me tell you, this has to be done today. I'm going to inform Chief Chen now, Brother Tu said. You're still in charge of the bar. If anyone doesn't look like they're here to drink, remember what they look like. Remember how they came here, what kind of transportation and the number plate of the transportation. Even if they came here by bus, remember the number plate of the bus. Brother Tu, it's the middle of the night. I don't have sharp eyes. I can't see their faces even if you beat me to death. Xiao Lu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Moreover, Chief Chen is already resting. If you disturb him at this time, won't you be causing trouble for him? Causing trouble? Brother Tu stared. Let me tell you, you little rascal, your ideological awareness needs to be improved. Too bad. Let me tell you, since Chief Chen is the bureau chief, he should have the highest ideological awareness. If you're afraid of trouble, why did you become a police officer? Isn't a police officer supposed to solve problems? Brother Tu's words made Xiao Lu speechless for a long time. That was because it was true. If they were afraid of trouble, why would they be a police officer? Xiao Lu felt that his level of thinking had been raised to a whole new level. After the two of them returned to the bar, Brother Tu left Xiao Lu behind and drove to look for Chen Wei. Previously, when the Criminal Investigation Unit was investigating a case, they met Chen Wei. Chen Wei invited them to his house for tea and a short break. Hence, Brother Tu knew where Chen Wei lived. Xiao Lu was screwed over by Brother Tu tonight. The night wind in Qingdao was very cold. Previously, they were sitting in the car. They could still smoke and drink some hot tea. It was quite warm. Now that there was no car, it was very cold for him to stay outside. Moreover, Brother Tu even reminded him not to smoke when he left. Because smoking in the car was blocked by the privacy glass, the fire couldn't be seen. However, there must be fire outside. If the fire from the cigarette kept flashing, the other party would definitely be on guard. Therefore, Xiao Lu was suffering. However, when he thought about how Brother Tu often taught him to join the police force, he had to abide by his oath. Oaths couldn't be broken. Those who broke oaths would definitely suffer retribution. Brother Tu also said that the only oath he had broken in his life was not taking good care of his family. Therefore, he always said that when he was old, he would definitely suffer retribution. He would definitely grow old alone. Even if he died, no one would be able to collect his body in time. Although Brother Tu was just saying it, it had a huge impact on Xiao Lu's heart. If it wasn't for this oath, Xiao Lu would have called for a private car and gone home. Who would care about what happened here? The police were human too. They also needed to rest. They couldn't work 24 hours a day. That was what he shouted in his heart, but he didn't do that. With Brother Tu as his role model, Xiao Lu naturally wouldn't slack off. At first, Xiao Lu was the same as the others. He said that Brother Tu was an idiot behind his back. He was too stubborn and didn't think about anything for himself. Slowly, Xiao Lu discovered Brother Tu's charm. He was such a person. He was someone who deserved the admiration of everyone in the narcotics squad. Therefore, Xiao Lu changed his view of Brother Tuesday. He took the initiative to ask Brother 2 to work with him. Brother 2 naturally accepted it. After all, the narcotic squad hadn't had new blood for a long time. Young people nowadays couldn't endure hardships. Seeing Brother 2's serious attitude, no one dared to work with him. The people who were assigned to him also used their connections to transfer them away. There weren't many people in Brother 2's narcotics squad. There was a girl who was involved in computer network investigation. There was also an old guy like him who had Parkinson's disease when he was just over 40 years old. There was also another person who was attacked by revenge last year. One of his tendons was cut and he was forever a cripple. Therefore, Brother 2 and Xiao Lu did most of the work in the narcotic squad. It had been a long time since Brother 2 met a young person that he admired so much. Therefore, he believed that Xiao Lu would definitely become a pillar in the narcotic squad in the future. Soon, the car stopped at the entrance of a residential area that was built around 2,000 years ago. There was no parking space in the older residential areas. He didn't want to go in and find trouble. He just left the car at the entrance where it wouldn't be a hindrance. The security guard quickly walked forward and stopped him. Hey, you can't park here. You should find another place. This is the main entrance. Police work. Brother 2 took out his police badge and showed it to the security guard. Don't make a fuss. If you ruin this, I guarantee that your property management company will fire you. The security guard was stunned by his Hong Kong way of speaking. The security guard was dumbfounded and quickly let Brother 2 in. Brother 2 didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He was really helpless. If he didn't park and look for a parking space, he would waste more than half an hour. It was already late. He felt bad for disturbing Chief Chen's rest. It would be even more awkward if he was late by half an hour. Therefore, Brother 2 had no choice but to use his privilege, even though he knew that it was tasteless. Brother 2 quickly arrived at Chen Wei's door. He knocked on the door a few times. Soon, he heard footsteps and Chen Wei's voice. Wait. Click. The door opened. Chen Wei saw Brother 2 at the door. He thought for a while and quickly smiled. Welcome. Team Leader 2, please come in. Chief Chen, I'm really sorry. Brother 2 apologized. I'm really sorry to disturb you at this time. Don't mention it. Chen Wei laughed. I'm very happy that you're willing to be my guest. Chief Chen. I came in a hurry and didn't think of bringing anything. Brother 2 was just like that. He was straightforward in his actions and his words. He was here for a job. He wasn't the kind of person who would gather connections. He was so thoughtful that he came empty-handed. However, Chen Wei liked it. If you had something in your hand, I would have closed the door on you. Ha ha ha. Brother 2 laughed when he heard Chen Wei's words. Ha ha. I'm really embarrassed. You came empty-handed at this time. You must have a job. Chen Wei joked. Even though I'm empty-handed, I still have to prepare the best tea for my guest. Team Leader 2, you're in luck. I just got a few boxes of white tea from Sky Entertainment's CEO Su. I'll make some for you. Chief Chen, don't be so polite. No, I don't want to drink it. I'm just waiting outside. I came to report to you immediately. Brother 2 said. It's already embarrassing for me to disturb you. How can I ask Chief Chen to make tea for me? Chen Wei felt an inexplicable admiration for Team Leader 2 when he heard that he was still waiting outside. He had heard about how hard Team Leader 2 worked. No matter what your reason is, you're a guest. As the host, if I don't do my duty as a host, I'll lose face. Chen Wei laughed. If you have anything to say, just report it to me. Chen Wei said as he pushed the tea in front of Brother 2's. Brother 2 took the tea embarrassedly. Seeing how concerned Bureau Chief Chen was about his work, he admired Bureau Chief Chen. Nowadays, there were fewer and fewer leaders who put their work first. Brother 2 felt that he was lucky enough to meet such a person. It was his fortune to meet such a person. Chapter 34-35. Director Chen, it's like this. Brother Tu warmed his hands with a teacup and reported, "Today, Xiao Lu and I were waiting in front of a bar on Fudi Street." "You mean the bar owned by those southwestern people?" Chen Wei was startled. Brother Tu nodded. "That's right, Director Chen. I think there's something wrong with that place." Chen Wei nodded seriously. "I agree. There's something wrong with those people. Since they came to Qingdao, they've been causing a lot of trouble. I've been paying attention to this matter, but I didn't expect you guys to be the ones waiting there." "I have my sense of smell," Brother Tu said. Chen Wei knew what Brother Tu meant. He nodded. "Continue." "When we were waiting there today, we found a suspicious target. I think it's their buyer," Brother Tu said. "Then, Xiao Lu and I followed them." "Oh." Chen Wei was startled. "You have a good lead." "It's a girl," Brother Tu continued. "We followed her and then followed her to Sky Entertainment Hotel." "Sky Entertainment Hotel?" Chen Wei was stunned. When he heard the word Sky Entertainment, he immediately became nervous. That was for sure. Sky Entertainment Group belonged to Su Yun. Brother Tu nodded. "Yes, we were surprised too. But after analyzing it, we thought that the girl's temperament was really good. She might be an artist. So, I came here to tell Director Chan about the situation." Brother Tu was actually a little embarrassed when he finished speaking. After all, he knew that Chen Wei and Su Yun had a good relationship. But Chen Wei didn't look unhappy at all. "I understand. You suspect that Sky Entertainment Group's artist might be the buyer of those guys." Brother Tu nodded. Without waiting for Chen Wei to speak, Brother Tu explained, "It's just a suspicion. I don't have any evidence to prove it, so—" "I understand." Chen Wei nodded, "But I support your approach. It's very positive. I'll talk to Su Yun. I believe that Su Yun is a trustworthy friend. Telling him this is a good thing for him. I'll let him observe internally. If there's really a problem, he'll definitely know." Brother Tu nodded. "Chief Chen, that's why I'm here." "Very good. You did a great job." Chen Wei didn't blame him at all. Instead, he praised Brother Tuesday. Brother Tu smiled embarrassedly and took a sip of tea. "Director Chen, to be honest, I was a little nervous before I came." "What's there to be nervous about? This is a good thing," Chen Wei said. "First, I'm afraid that if I come at this time, you'll already be resting. If I disturb you, it will affect your mood." Brother Tu said. "Secondly, I'm afraid that President Su of Sky Entertainment Group is your friend. My suspicions will make you feel awkward." Chen Wei laughed out loud. "First of all, I'm not sleeping at this time, so it's not a bother at all. Even if I'm really asleep, as long as you come to me at 3 in the morning because of work, it won't affect my mood. I'll be happy to open the door for you as long as you don't take anything. Ha ha ha." Brother Tu felt a lot more relaxed after hearing Chen Wei's joke. "As for the second point, the more I'm friends with Su Yun, the more I should pay attention to his matters. I should meddle in his matters. Otherwise, I'll be his friend for nothing." At this moment, Brother Tu's respect for Chen Wei was like an endless torrential river. However, Brother Tu wouldn't say such flattering words. Even if he had it in his heart, it didn't mean he would say it out loud. "Also, I didn't expect that as the leader of the narcotics investigation team, you'd be personally waiting for someone." Chen Wei once again expressed his admiration. "If every leader was like you, I believe the stability of society would increase by at least 50%. Director Chen, if you praise me like this, I'll be proud." Brother Tu laughed dryly. He didn't mention the difficulties of the investigation team. If he didn't wait for someone, then there wouldn't be anyone to use. However, he couldn't say that in Chen Wei's house. Especially now, if he spoke, it would feel like he was asking for someone from Director Chen. Brother Tu definitely couldn't do such a thing. If he could, the investigation team wouldn't be so quiet today. "Where's Xiao Lu? Who's waiting for you? Don't tell me you're letting him wait downstairs?" "Call him up and ask him to come up for a cup of tea and rest," said Chen Wei. "No, I asked him to continue watching over there. I came myself, said Brother Tuesday. He's probably quite bored. I'm going back to look for him. Director Chen, have a good rest. It's already midnight. Is there anyone going to replace you? Chen Wei said, I'm suddenly a little hungry. I want to have some supper. Arrange for 2 people to take over your shift. I'll treat you to something to eat. No, I want you to accompany me to eat something. No. Brother Tu quickly waved his hand even though his stomach was growling. Chen Wei said, as your leader, I'm the one asking you to eat with me. Aren't you going to give me face? Chief Chen, it's not that I don't want to give you face, but I. Brother Tu was embarrassed. I'll be honest with you. I don't have anyone to take over my shift. I'll go buy some instant noodles and get some hot water. Xiao Lu and I will make do. I really can't accompany you. I'm sorry, Chief Chen. Please forgive me. No one to replace you. Chen Wei was stunned. The investigation team is such an important team. Don't tell me there's only the 2 of you? No. There are 5 of us. Even 5 people aren't enough. Chen Wei panicked when he heard that. But it can't be just the 2 of you. 5 people can also replace each other in an emergency. Brother Tu knew there was no point in hiding it anymore. It was too hypocritical. Director Chen, among the 5 people in the investigation team, there's a girl who's our computer genius. I can't bear to let her exhaust her body. During important times, she can increase our efficiency by a few times. This is dangerous. We can't let her come. Chen Wei nodded. She's an important talent. We have to protect and take care of her. As for the other 2, you might not have heard of them. One of them is my old colleague. He has Parkinson's disease. He exhausted his body when he was young. Brother Tu said, the other one offended someone while he was investigating. Someone took revenge and cut off the tendons in his leg. He's crippled now. It's not that he doesn't want to help us. It's just that he's crippled. It's really inconvenient for him. He really can't keep up with the pace. So, there are many things that can only be done by Xiao Lu and me. Chen Wei's expression changed when he heard that. At that moment, he felt like a bottle of mixed feelings. There were all kinds of feelings. Sour, bitter, spicy, salty, but there was no sweetness. Chen Wei really didn't expect the comrades in the investigation team of the criminal investigation team to work so hard. They were actually like this. They were constantly torturing the 2 of them every day. After all, Team Leader 2 was also a team leader. It shouldn't be that no one knew about this. As the director, he actually didn't know? Chen Wei felt his face burning. Team Leader 2. I'm sorry. This is my negligence. I apologize to you here. With that said, Chen Wei actually bowed. Brother Tu immediately turned cold. Chen Wei's rank was higher than his status was higher than his, and he was older than him. No matter what, Chen Wei shouldn't bow to him. Director Chen. What are you doing? You're scaring me. Brother Tu's face was filled with fear. I know about your situation. I didn't solve it in the past because I didn't know. Now that I know, I will definitely solve it, Chen Wei said seriously. Director Chen, don't be like this. I don't mean anything else. I really didn't want to say this. But if I don't say this, you will think that I'm not giving you face. Brother Tu said, actually, I only truly understood Chief Chen today. I also wish to have a meal with Chief Chen as a friend, but I can't just leave little Lu alone to have a meal with me. If he finds out, he will be disappointed. Chen Wei laughed out loud. Don't worry about that. Let's go together now. I'll buy some things. You drive me there. The 3 of us can eat in the car. I can also go and take a look at those suspicious fellows. Brother Tu was completely dumbfounded. This bureau chief was too down to earth. Let's go. What are you waiting for? Chen Wei took his keys and clothes and was about to leave. Are you still waiting for me to refill your cup? Ha ha ha, if you like these tea leaves, take a box. Drink more tea when you stay up late next time. Refresh yourself. Chapter 34-36. Brother Tu thought that Bureau Chief Chen was just joking, but Chen Wei actually took out a box and asked him to take it away. After all, he had tasted the tea just now. It was definitely good tea. Brother Tu's cousin's husband was in the tea business, so every time his cousin came home, she would bring some good tea back. White tea was a slightly fermented tea, so it would have different tastes over time. Freshly made white tea had a light taste like green tea, and the soup was slightly green. White tea that had been brewed for 3 to 5 years would turn brown when brewed. The tea that Chen Wei served him had a taste that leaned towards black tea. It was said that the price of old white tea was quite high in the market, especially this kind of old white tea that had a mellow and smooth taste. It was much more expensive than the fresh and sweet new white tea. Therefore, the tea that Director Chen gave him was definitely worth a lot. Chen Wei said that he got the tea from Su Yun. Su Yun was the CEO of Sky Entertainment Group, with a net worth of trillions. How could he not have tea leaves? I definitely can't accept this. Brother Tu refused. He came to Director Chen's house empty-handed. Anyone who told him about this would scold him for not knowing the ways of the world. It was already a failure for him to not bring 2 boxes of tea leaves for Director Chen. If he took a box of tea leaves from Director Chen's house, he would be scolded for not knowing the ways of the world. Brother Tu shook his head and waved his hands. Absolutely not. Director Chen, put it back. I can't take your tea leaves to drink. Why are you being so polite with me? I told you to take it, so take it. Chen Wei glared at him. You guys work overtime and stay up late. As a director, I don't have the ability to apply for better benefits for you guys. However, this is a small token of my appreciation. I'm not giving you anything valuable. Why do you have so much nonsense to say? Director Chen, I won't lie to you. My cousin's husband's family is in the tea business in the south. Every year, my cousin would bring me some good tea leaves to try. Therefore, I know a little about tea leaves. It's not rare for this kind of old white tea to be sold for a few thousand yuan per caddy. The box you gave me is half a caddy. I definitely can't accept something so expensive. Brother Tu said. In fact, he thought that even if it was cheap green tea that cost 30 to 50 yuan per caddy, as a subordinate, he would not accept it. A few thousand yuan per caddy? Chen Wei's eyes widened. This tea is so expensive. Yes, Brother Tu said. Chen Wei exclaimed, I really don't dare to accept Su Yun's tea leaves in the future. It's practically bribery. If anyone reports me now, I'll definitely die. It's a sin to drink such expensive tea leaves. Chief Chen, your situation is different. Boss Su is your good friend. This is nothing in the eyes of a rich man. Moreover, Boss Su didn't give you the tea to help him cover up a crime. There's nothing that you can't drink. Moreover, a chief like you doesn't deserve to drink this kind of tea. Brother Tu said sincerely. Don't. Chen Wei joked again. You know that I drink such expensive tea leaves, so you have to take a box. Otherwise, I'm worried that you will report me. If you take a box, you will be in the same boat as me. Ha ha ha. You won't dare to report me then. Brother Tu knew that Director Chen was joking. He smiled bitterly. Director Chen, don't make things difficult for me. Chen Wei became serious. You can say that it costs a few thousand yuan or tens of thousands yuan. In my eyes, it's just a box of good tea leaves given by a friend. I'll give you a box to try. In my eyes, this is a friendship. It can't be defined by money. Brother Tu was stunned. Leader Tu, if you think that I, Chen Wei, am a person worthy of being your friend, then you can take it. Chen Wei continued, if you think that I'm just a director, a superior, and we're just colleagues and not worthy of being friends, then I won't make things difficult for you. Brother Tu was inexplicably touched. He took the box of tea leaves from Chen Wei. Thank you. That's it. You're a man, don't hesitate. Chen Wei smiled straightforwardly. The two of them quickly left the neighborhood and found a fast food restaurant to buy some fast food. Chen Wei wanted to pay, but Brother Tu wouldn't agree. After paying, he took the fast food and brought Chen Wei to the place where they waited at the entrance of the bar. When the two arrived, Xiao Lu was sneezing. Xiao Lu smiled bitterly when he saw the car with its headlights turned off. They're finally here. When the car stopped, Xiao Lu opened the front passenger door and was about to squeeze in. My dear brother, you're freezing me to death. Why are you taking so long? You. Before he could finish, Xiao Lu was stunned. Director Chen was sitting in the front passenger seat. Hi. Hello. Director Chen. Xiao Lu immediately changed his words when he regained his senses. Sit in the back, Brother Tu said to Xiao Lu. Brother Tu said to Xiao Lu. Xiao Lu quickly closed the door for Chen Wei and sat in the back seat. His mind was in a mess. He had no idea what was going on. After Xiao Lu sat down, Chen Wei said, Xiao Lu, thank you for your hard work. No. I'm flattered. Xiao Lu was flattered. He didn't expect Director Chen to come here with Brother Tuesday. Brother Tu passed him a lunchbox. Hurry up and eat something. Young people can't resist hunger. Xiao Lu took the lunchbox and saw Chen Wei was also holding a lunchbox. He couldn't believe that Director Chen was so down to earth. Compared to those bureau chiefs who had at least 15 dishes and 1 soup for a meal and had to drink 2 bottles of red wine that cost at least a few thousand yuan per bottle, Bureau Chief Chen was so honest that even Xiao Lu felt ashamed of his inferiority. Chen Wei said as he ate. Actually, at my age, I shouldn't eat at night. My digestive system isn't young anymore. Ha ha ha. But I'm too hungry today. Director Chen, I'm sorry to let you eat in the car with us. Brother Tu said embarrassedly. Chen Wei pointed at the lunchbox with his chopsticks. Stir-fried pork liver, vegetarian assorted vegetables, fried onions with chili, stir-fried green beans, and cold bitter gourd. There are already 5 dishes. What's there for me to feel wronged about? You all know that our chairman only eats 4 dishes and 1 soup. I've already exceeded the limit, okay? I should be ashamed. Chen Wei was exaggerating a little. After all, he was eating a boxed lunch from a fast food restaurant. The 5 dishes were half a portion each. Other than the stir-fried pork liver, the rest were very cheap vegetarian dishes. Together with the rice, they only cost about 20 yuan a portion. He only ordered it after Brother Tu strongly urged him to order more. This standard was even lower than a normal person's meal at a small restaurant. Don't talk about normal people. Even the university students who were still using their parents' hard-earned money to go to a small restaurant to order more expensive food than this. The chief of a certain city's urban management bureau who once claimed that 8,000 yuan was not enough for him to eat for a day, and the 12 civil servants of a certain province's grain bureau who ate 15,000 yuan in a single meal. These people's faces should be stuffed into their chrysanthemum eyes and never pulled out. Once upon a time, all leaders had to do was attend dinner parties. They even had to attend a few dinners in one night. It was either a specialty restaurant with wild game or a luxuriously decorated restaurant. Famous dishes, famous cigarettes, and famous wine. A meal could easily cost more than 10,000 renminbi. This was not a secret in Huaxia at all. If the crackdown was stricter, even the civil servants who had used public funds to eat would have to step down. Not to mention the leaders, 99% of the civil servants would probably have to pack up and leave. Even if the crackdown on corruption was carried out, in some counties and cities far away from the emperor, it was still a daily occurrence for the leaders to secretly go to a specialty restaurant to entertain. Now that it was the end of the year, there were more inspections. There were more connections, projects, and people looking for the god of fortune. If there were inspections, there would be people accompanying them. If there were people accompanying them, there would be dinners. If there were people accompanying them to bathe 8 times, there would inevitably be people accompanying them to eat 8 meals. Who would only bathe and not eat? Connections, projects, and people looking for the god of fortune were all asking for help. Who would ask someone to do something without eating? If they did not eat, it would show that they did not have a deep relationship. If their relationship was not good, who would work for you? Those leaders who shuttled through various dinners and could eat more than 10,000 renminbi per meal should be embarrassed and reflect on themselves when compared to Bureau Chief Chen's simple and plain meals. Chapter 34-37. Chief Chen, I'm benefiting from following you today. Xiao Lu chuckled. In the past, when our group leader Tu bought a boxed lunch, he would get me 2 dishes: stir-fried pork with green peppers and tomato eggs, or shredded potatoes and braised pork. Meat and vegetables. Isn't that great? What are you thinking about? Chen Wei laughed. Don't tell me you want your group leader Tu to treat you to 108 Manchu Han imperial banquets? Him? I'm afraid he can't afford it. Brother Tu laughed. Manchu Han imperial feast? Does he even know what a Manchu Han imperial feast is? Ha ha ha, Director Chen, you think too highly of him. He eats instant noodles with me the most. Xiao Lu rolled his eyes. You don't say, Chief Chen. I've eaten 108 types of instant noodles with my group leader. White Elephant, Huafeng, 5 Grains Training Hall, Uni President, Wei Li, Master Kong, Tang Darren, Nanjikan, Dehanku, Nong Xin, Eat Sao, Old Cousin Ma, Old Man Shan, Sorcerer, Little Raccoon. I've never heard of so many. Chen Wei wanted to hold back his laughter but couldn't. Brother Tu, did you hear that? Chief Chen said he's never heard of some. Old Cousin Ma, Old Man Shan, I've never heard of them either. You lied to me and said they were imported. Screw you. Old Man Shan's noodles. When have I ever let you eat noodles? Brother Tu was speechless. And that sorcerer, Little Raccoon, those are crispy noodle snacks. That's for children. You're throwing out all the brands you know have to do with noodles. If you're so good, tell me about the Manchu Han imperial banquets. When Xiao Lu heard this, he was really excited. Brother Tu, are you forcing me? I've never eaten pork, but I've never seen a pig run. I saw a documentary about this. I really know what's in the Manchu Han imperial banquets. Brag as much as you can. It's not taxed anyway. Brother Tu waved his hand and motioned for Xiao Lu to continue. Xiao Lu snorted. Fine, I'll tell you about the first banquet. I'll definitely forget some, but I'll tell you what I remember. It's called the 4 Treasures of White Grilled Pork, Phoenix Crouching Nest, Kung Pao Rabbit Meat, Hibiscus Prawns, Goldfish Duck Feet, Stir-Fried Jade Dragon Slices, 3 Fresh Jade Pillars, Crispy Roll Buddha Hands, Colored Glass Pearls, Curry Cauliflower. Go go go. Go play somewhere else. Are you making this up? Brother Tu said, what you said earlier is a bit like, but what is curry cauliflower? Does your family's Manchu Han imperial feast have curry? India's Manchu Han imperial feast? Don't believe me, there really is this curry cauliflower. If you don't believe me, you can check. Xiao Lu insisted. Hurry up and eat your stir-fried pork liver. If you don't like it, give it to me. I like to eat this, Brother Tu said as he turned around to pick up his chopsticks. Xiao Lu hurriedly blocked him with his elbow. You want to snatch this meat dish from me? No way, don't even think about it. My favorite dish is stir-fried pork liver. The 3 of them chatted and laughed during the meal. There was no estrangement at all. It had been a long time since Chen Wei was able to have a meal with his colleagues in such a relaxed manner. He liked this kind of atmosphere and didn't like the atmosphere of being served tea and wine at the dining table. This was also the reason why Chen Wei especially liked the current alcohol ban. He remembered that when he first started working more than 20 years ago, there was a leader who got drunk in the afternoon and went straight to the office to sleep until sunset. After waking up, he continued to go to drinking parties. There was a record of him drinking more than 10 times in a day, and that was 3 to 5 caddies of alcohol. That was because red wine was not popular at that time, and everyone drank white wine. If red wine was popular at that time, everyone could drink at least 2 rounds, right? It should not be a problem to drink more than 10 bottles. If they knew it was good wine, they would not be able to drink it. If they did not have a good alcohol tolerance, how could they lead their comrades? As the night got deeper, the customers in the bar became more and more abnormal. Some people even drove in and left after 10 minutes. After all, this was a bar and not a supermarket. The people who came here were naturally drinking and chatting to pass the time and relax. But at least 1/3 of the customers in this bar were not here to drink. They left after a short time. These people were all photographed by Xiao Lu, and the license plate numbers of the drivers were also taken. "It's so dark. Can you take pictures?" Chen Wei asked. Xiao Lu smiled and handed the camera to Chen Wei. "I just got this camera last year. I gave it the nickname, Midnight Demon. It's really awesome. It can even take pictures in a completely dark environment." "Really?" Chen Wei looked at the camera in his hand in surprise. 10 million pixel sensor and infrared flash. It has 2 modes, standard and infrared. After switching to infrared mode, the infrared filter on the lens will retract. At the same time, the infrared will light up. It can take pictures in complete darkness. Xiao Lu said. "At least it can take pictures of the license plates. Did you take pictures of that artist from Sky Entertainment Group?" Chen Wei asked. "Yes, but her hair is blocking her face. It can't show her face." Xiao Lu immediately found the picture for Chen Wei. Chen Wei took out his phone and took a picture. "I'll go find Su Yun and show it to him. If it's really one of his people, he'll have some impression of her." "Director Chen, we'll have to trouble you with this," Brother Tu said. Xiao Lu nodded and said with admiration, "Director Chen, we'll have to trouble you with this." "Don't say that. You guys have to work harder than me. There are so many suspicious targets. You guys have to work harder." Chen Wei shook his head. "What I do is nothing. Director Chen, you've done many things that even the leaders wouldn't do." Brother Tu said gratefully. "I know. In Huaxia, there are many good leaders like you. But meeting you is the luckiest thing in my life. I'm embarrassed by what you're saying." Director Chen laughed out loud. Suddenly, Xiao Lu's eyes turned cold. "Director Chen, Brother Tu, it seems like they're about to close. It's a bit early. Could it be that they've noticed us?" Brother Tu also became nervous. "Don't panic. We'll act according to the situation. If there were only the 2 of them in the car, they wouldn't panic. But now that Director Chan was in the car, things were different. If they really attracted the attention of the southwestern wolves, it would be troublesome." Based on Brother Tu's understanding of such people, he knew very well how vicious and merciless they were. If Director Chan was hurt by someone beside him, he would feel ashamed for the rest of his life. "Director Chen, don't worry. Even if something really happens, we won't let you get hurt even if we have to risk our lives," Brother Tu said seriously. Chen Wei laughed. "Leader Tu, 30 years ago, I was also an outstanding graduate of the police academy. I have some skills too. Don't worry about me. Director Chen, don't do anything rash. These people are too cruel." Brother Tu hurriedly said, "There's a reason why they're called southwestern wolves. There aren't any wolves in the southwest. Most wolves live in the northwest. They're called southwestern wolves because they don't eat human flesh and drink human blood. They can do anything wolves do." Before these guys came to Guqin Island, they must have been the kind of bullies, robbers, colluding with officials and businessmen, and oppressing the common people. They were treacherous, cunning, and ruthless. Many people must have died directly or indirectly in their hands. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been so desperate. They were able to gain a foothold on Guqin Island because of their ruthlessness. To put it bluntly, these people were pure gangsters. Many people worshipped the brotherhood spirit in the underworld, but this brotherhood spirit was actually quite ket up, because these people colluded together and did things shamelessly. Actually, Chen Wei knew this. He had dealt with these kinds of people a lot when he was young. He hated them, especially those who broke up other people's families. Chen Wei remembered clearly that when he was young, the Santana and Shenlong Citroën on the streets were luxury cars. There was no traffic jam at all. A middle-aged man who set up a street stall was hit by a gangster who drove a Santana. His ribs were broken, but he still had to pay for the gangster's repair fees. He was even beaten up by the gangster. In that era, how many drivers had encountered such a situation? When they walked on the national highway that they had paid the road maintenance fee, they were stopped by people who claimed to be on the road. They opened their mouths like bandits and said, "This mountain is mine, this tree was planted by me. If you want to pass this road, you have to pay the toll." Once upon a time, the road on the mountain road might have been made by the bandits. They had a reason to ask for money. However, those people dared to ask for money when the national highway was built by the country. They were really shameless. Chapter 34-38. At this time, the Southwest Wolves who opened the bar had already closed the door and stood at the entrance. Their 2 cars were parked at the entrance, and they lit up their cigarettes. 2 of them began to whisper to each other. Chen Wei, who was in the car, saw it very clearly. For some reason, he suddenly thought of a phrase, wolves in cahoots with each other. Wolves were hateful and abominable, but the Bey who worked with wolves to harm people was even more heinous. What was a Bey? A Bey was the wolf's military advisor, the wolf's backer, and the wolf's confidence when it did bad things. Wolves in cahoots with each other, just like how black and red intersected. A Bey was a corrupt person who had all kinds of power granted by the international community and the people. They did not use the power in their hands to create benefits for the people. On the contrary, they colluded with wolves to make profits. "Chief Chen, these people are really ruthless," Xiao Lu said. Xiao Lu said, "Just a few days ago, I heard that they caused trouble at a restaurant. It was said that they were eating, and then a guest at another table drank a little too much. He accidentally bumped into them and knocked the wine glass in one of their hands to the ground." Chen Wei knew that if one drank too much in a restaurant and bumped into a hooligan, it would definitely not end well. Although that person picked up the wine glass and apologized to them, one of them picked up a wine bottle and smashed it on the person's head, directly shattering it, Xiao Lu said. Anyway, at that time, these people began to punch, kick, and smash chairs. They did not hold back at all. They beat him to death for 10 minutes and only stopped when the person was out of breath. They even took out the wallet of the person who was beaten, paid for their meal, and left. It was said that the person was sent to the hospital by the restaurant's owner. There were several cracks on his head, and a total of more than 30 stitches. There were also more than 10 stitches on his nose. There were many fractures on his body, and all his limbs were broken. Even his spleen was ruptured. Chen Wei's eyes widened when he heard that. No one dealt with this matter? Are the people in the district police station all good-for-nothings? It's not that no one is handling it, Chief Chen. It's just that no one dares to report it. Little Lu said, the person who was beaten up didn't dare to say anything because they were afraid of retaliation. Naturally, the restaurant owner didn't want to meddle in other people's business. The woman had already been taken to the hospital, but he didn't dare to offend these hooligans. After all, he was the owner of a restaurant. If these hooligans really came to smash his restaurant a few times, the loss would be invisible and huge. He couldn't afford to offend these people, so he didn't dare to say anything. Our comrades from the police station went to investigate, but no one dared to testify against them. Chen Wei angrily clenched his fists so tightly that they cracked. He felt that he had failed in his duty and was a disgrace. How could such an evil person exist in the area under his jurisdiction? He was too ashamed to face the people of Guqin Island. Chen Wei felt a burning sensation on his face. If it wasn't for the fact that he was worried about alerting the enemy, he really wanted to teach these bastards a lesson right now. But now, for the sake of the Narcotics Criminal Investigation Unit's mission, he had to endure. He had to endure. He absolutely couldn't expose them. If his impulsiveness caused them to be unable to find evidence of these fellows doing evil business, then it would really be a case of a lack of forbearance spoiling a great plan. At this moment, those guys were also very careful. Triangle Eyes had been using the corner of his eye to size up the car that was parked 30 meters away. "This car has been parked for a long time," Triangle Eyes said to the brothers beside him. "Is there anything strange about it?" "Big brother, it can't be. It's just a car." Triangle Eyes was a little unhappy. "We have to be very careful with what we do now. If we're not careful, we may be doomed eternally. You know what kind of money I asked you to come with me to earn, right?" Hearing Triangle Eyes' words, the brothers nodded one after another. Their faces also showed cautious expressions. "But, big brother, if there's really something wrong with this car, what should we do?" A guy who was as thin as Triangle Eyes beside him asked. Triangle Eyes fell into deep thought. After a while, he said, "We have to do something. Otherwise, we may really be in trouble. We have to find a way to determine if that car is intentional." "Brother, tell me what to do. I'll do it now," the most muscular person among them said. "You go over and see the situation now. If there's someone in the car, pretend to ask about the price of this car and say that you want to buy this car too." Triangle Eyes thought of an idea. "Okay." The muscular guy nodded and directly ran over. Seeing someone running over, the young Xiao Lu panicked. "Brother too. Someone's coming. What should we do?" "Don't make a sound," Brother Two said. "Our car has a privacy window. It's dark here. The outside can't see inside. Don't let him think that there's someone in the car. If he knows that there's someone in the car, we'll be exposed. Right now, he's only suspicious. He can't be sure. If he's sure, there won't be only one person coming over. They'll all come over." Brother Two could still make such a clear analysis at this time. He was really calm in the face of danger. Chen Wei admired Team Leader Two even more. Sure enough, this guy walked over and circled the car. He looked in from the outside. Because he didn't see anything, he frowned and left. Triangle Eyes and the others waited for the muscular guy to come back. They asked him urgently, "Is there no one in the car?" "The car has a privacy window. It's very dark. We can't see anything," the muscular guy said helplessly. Triangle Eyes narrowed his eyes. After thinking for a while, he suddenly made a move. He walked straight to their car and opened the trunk. He took out a big wrench and turned around to hand it to the muscular guy. "Brother, what are you doing?" "Go and smash the headlights of that car," Triangle Eyes said. "Ah!" The muscular guy was stunned. Triangle Eyes knew very well that if the other party appeared to smash the car, it meant that there was definitely a problem. They had to be careful. However, the other party couldn't find any evidence of their crimes because they smashed the car. At most, they would pay for the headlights. Then, nothing would be settled. However, if there was no movement after smashing the headlights, it meant that he was overthinking. Chen Wei and the other two in the car saw the other party come back with a big wrench in his hand. They instantly became more nervous. "Once we are discovered, we will take action." Brother Two said to Xiao Lu, "The other party is a fugitive. They might have guns. You have to protect Bureau Chief Chen." "Yes," Xiao Lu said seriously. The muscular guy came to the front of the car. The three people in the car were ready to fight. They saw the guy smash the headlights with the wrench. Xiao Lu reached out to open the car door. However, Chen Wei turned around and held his hand. Chen Wei shook his head. Xiao Lu stopped. Brother Two also turned to look at Xiao Lu. He nodded, indicating that he should listen to Bureau Chief Chen's orders and not act rashly. The muscular guy smashed the other headlights again. Then, he stopped to check the situation in the car. There was still no movement. At this time, his expression relaxed. He turned around and left. "Big brother, there shouldn't be anyone. There's no movement at all." The muscular guy put the wrench back into the trunk. The skinny guy also said, "Big brother, you are too cautious. It's just a car. It's nothing." It's better to be safe than sorry. That's an eternal truth. Triangle Eyes said, such a big thing happened on our side. How did we escape to Qingdao to continue our carefree life? Continue our business? Isn't it because we are careful enough and cautious enough? That's right. The muscular guy said, we will have meat to eat if we follow Big Brother. There's nothing to be afraid of. Safety first. Yes, yes, yes. The few of them flattered him. All right, let's go. Today's shipment went smoothly. I will arrange a party for each of you tonight. Have fun. Ha ha ha. Triangle Eyes was in a better mood. No threat existed. That was what he liked the most. With that said, Triangle Eyes signaled one of them with his eyes. The few of them got into 2 separate cars and left quickly. The 3 people in the car were still breathing carefully. They waited until the 2 cars were far away from their sight. Even so, they still didn't get out of the car immediately. Brother 2 said that they still needed to wait. He was worried that the other party would hold back. If they waited a little longer, it would take at least half an hour. Sure enough, 20 minutes later, the 2 cars came back. A figure walked out of their blind spot and quickly got into the car. At this time, the 2 cars completely disappeared. Xiao Lu heaved a sigh of relief. He looked at Bureau Chief Chen and Brother 2 with admiration. If he was the leader of the mission, he would have been exposed. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.